Three things the Sportsocracy stick to: sports, jokes, and strong opinions.
I just get stupider.
Beer City's best sports talk with Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, win!
TheSportsocracy.com. Presented by Angell Supermarkets and Wicked Weed Brewing.
I love this.
Weekdays at 3 on ESPN Asheville.
I love every part of this.
Heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Being a real estate agent isn't about listing houses. It's about connecting to people. I need to find new buyers every day, so I promote my listings using radio commercials from iHeartAdBuilder.com. Now every time I have an open house, it's a full house.
A custom radio ad from iHeartAdBuilder is the fast, affordable way to drive customers to your business. Put the power of radio to work for you. Get started now at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
We're pretty heavy hitters, big old guys, but we're trying to take care of that with PhD weight loss. We are now in our 8th week on the PhD weight loss program. I've been thrilled with the results so far. 24 pounds in 7 weeks is a pretty good clip. And Dr. Ashley Lucas has got me jazzed up thinking that I can reach a weight that I have not reached since adulthood. Let's just put it that way. We have a combined weight loss goal of 200 pounds. Jeremy is absolutely, you're crazy about the fact that they put the food right in front of you.
Oh, yeah, I'm big into convenience. That's how I got into the position that I'm in. I ate the most convenient thing. Well, this plan takes all of that away because the food's right here, and it's actually good for you.
They will supply you with 80% of the food that you need to have success on this program. They'll teach you how to put only good things into your body. Just give them a call over at PhD Weight Loss. Hook up with them for your initial consultation today. Go to myphdweightloss.com. myphdweightloss.com.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive contains B-complex vitamins and alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
Hey guys, there is some important news that all men should take very seriously. Your prostate health. Are you urinating more frequently? Are you waking up at night to urinate? Are you sick and tired of prostate pills that just don't work? Sound familiar? If you are one of the millions of men with prostate problems that are driving you nuts, there is some great news. Prostagenics is the all-natural product that beat over 157 other prostate supplements in lab tests and was rated the #1 most powerful prostate supplement in the world. #1, because it works. So why not try some Prostagenics, and your prostate troubles will be a thing of the past. You'll get a great night's sleep and stop waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. To get your free bottle of Prostagenics, call now, 800-600-2020. That's 1-800-600-2020. Take advantage of our 90-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-600-2020. Do it now.
From the Angell Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger makes it official today, announcing his retirement after 18 seasons in Pittsburgh. ESPN's Louis Riddick.
If you think of the fact that he's a 2-time Super Bowl winner, 6-time Pro Bowler, 5th all-time in passing yards, 8th all-time in passing TDs. If you want to use quarterback wins as a metric, which everyone seems to, although I have my issues with it, but he's 5th all-time in quarterback wins.
Louis Riddick on Barton Hahn. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Matt Eberflus will be the new head coach of the Chicago Bears. He had been the defensive coordinator for the Colts. The Broncos will name Nathaniel Hackett as the team's new coach. He had been the offensive coordinator for the Packers. LeBron James is questionable for tonight's Lakers game against the 76ers with a sore left knee. The Lakers are 2-1 so far on a 6-game road trip. Australian Ash Barty, the number one women's player, advances to the Aussie Open final with a straight set win over American Madison Keys. She'll meet another American, Danielle Collins, in the final.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Happy. that's happy. Enter it on our station website now.
Log on now to espnavl.com.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, two men, one journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit. Let's go! Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, The Sportsocracy. Presented by Angell Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Wicked Weed Brewing. Drink different.
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Welcome in to the Sportsocracy. ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and seen everywhere at thesportsocracy.com and on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, though. Click on that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can get in the chat that way, and we got a lot to chat about today. We got a whole lot of things going on in the NFL. The coaching carousel is in overdrive right now.
Yeah, I said, man, this is taking forever. And, okay. Hold my beer.
It's like drinking from a fire hose as teams are making their decisions on who is going to be their head coach. We've got Nathaniel Hackett. We have Matt Eberflus.
One of those decisions I'm reasonably happy about. The other one is going to get talked about two times in this show.
Two times in this show. We got a hold up with the Byron Leftwich situation down in Jacksonville. Very interesting that a head coaching candidate will start making demands on who's around.
There's a reason for that.
And there's a reason for that. You want me? You're going to put me in a situation to win. And, of course, Jones Angell will join us at 4 o'clock to have another Tar Heel time with the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels. We'll talk about the past 3 games. We're going to have a 2-game winning streak. It reminds me of that. It reminds me of that quote from Major League. Like, we won a game today. We won a game yesterday. We win again. That's called a winning streak. We'll see if we can continue the streak coming up this weekend. We'll talk to Jones about all things going on in Chapel Hill. And Big Ben has retired, announcing his retirement after 18 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's where we will begin. I mean, obviously, Big Ben, historical figure in the NFL, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Is he the greatest Steeler of all time, though?
I don't think there's any doubt that he is.
You think so?
And I really didn't think that was even a spicy take. Apparently it is.
Well, I mean, some people, and I'll say that's usually the older generation, will believe that he's not even the best quarterback in Steelers history.
I would love to have that. Because that is the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Ben Roethlisberger, hands down to you, not even a question, better than Terry Bradshaw.
Not even kind of debatable.
A 4-time Super Bowl winner.
That was on quite possibly the most talented team in NFL history.
Right.
You can't give me the, Joe Namath was overrated, and then celebrate Terry Bradshaw. Look, he's a great commentator, and I like the guy a lot. Ben did way more with way less.
Right. But in the end, it always comes down to rings for those people. I got 4. Ben's got 2. Terry Bradshaw is the greatest of all time.
Well, and Terry Bradshaw also didn't have to deal with, what's that guy's name? You know, the bane of my... Tom Brady. He didn't have to deal with that.
This is very true.
I'll tell you something that I didn't think about until I asked this question in some Steelers groups, and in between the 4-letter words and the telling me to do things that are anatomically impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the third? All right, so if it's Ben, Terry Bradshaw, who's next?
Mean Joe Greene.
No. Quarterbacks.
Oh, quarterbacks.
Yeah, of quarterbacks.
Oh, my God, for Pittsburgh? I mean, Neil O'Donnell?
That's who I think it is.
Right.
That's exactly who I think it is.
Right.
Neil O'Donnell, a name that I can't say without having tremendous acid reflux.
Oh, the Neil O'Donnell Jets years weren't great to you. Of course, many of the Jets years have not been great to you. So
just keep it moving. Don't have to take the shots. Okay, this ain't about me.
I apologize. I think this is a great question, though. is Ben the greatest Steeler of all time? And I am going to take the tact of no, he's not the greatest Steeler of all time. I think when you look at it, to me, the most identifiable face with the Pittsburgh Steelers is Joe Greene.
First of all, I'm not going to listen to anybody that played in the 70s. I'm just not. Okay? It's a different league.
Right.
I don't really know. But I use the Nancy Reagan line. I can't really explain it to you.
Right.
But I can point it out and go, there are a lot of guys that look like me that played in the NFL in the 70s.
True.
Not many guys that play in the NFL now that look like me. There's only one name I would even listen to.
Okay.
And for me, this is the argument of who is the greatest player in your history. You could revise that to who's the greatest quarterback in your history.
Because nobody else matters.
Troy Polamalu till you're blue in the face. If Troy Polamalu had been playing with, I don't know, let's go Mike Tomczak or Bubby Brister or Mark Malone. For some reason, I don't think he would have had the same impact.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tie to? It ties right back to Ben.
Right.
I have to do this because this is not only our first of the day, but it's very well timed.
I'm your huckleberry.
David Evans Olson, welcome to the House of Reprehensibles, one of our great Steeler fan friends.
Yes.
We have a poll up on the YouTube stream right now. Is Ben Roethlisberger the greatest Steeler of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, 55% say no, 45% say yes.
Yeah.
And I am one of the ones that said yes.
That said yes. I was one of the ones that said no because I mean, I get that it's a different game, but I mean, back in the day, I guess, and to me, I never saw him play. I never saw Mean Joe Greene play in person. I was not around for that. Right. You've seen the commercials, but I've seen all of the highlights. I've seen all of the stories, it's just, I will always tie him. And actually the most recognizable face to the Pittsburgh Steelers to me is, he's in the discussion of greatest Steelers of all time, obviously. He's in the top 6 or 7, but it's Jack Lambert. How can you forget the guy with no teeth and just, he was a force.
And I don't disagree with any of that. I've got one trump card that's going to be really hard for you to beat.
Okay.
How many losing seasons did Ben Roethlisberger ever have?
Oh, God, he had 2.
It's 0.
0?
It's not 1.
Yeah.
His rookie year, he was 15-1.
Yeah.
I would argue he's going to go down as one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks of at least of my lifetime. I'm not going to get into the Ken O'Brien,
who's the most underrated quarterback of all time?
Right.
I'll take your answer off the air.
I'm not doing that.
I don't think Ben falls into that category necessarily.
Oh, he absolutely does, because there's people that think he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, and those people
are stupid. I'm on the bandwagon with you on that one. He's no doubt, to me, first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. To me, it was just, I've heard this from people over and over and over again. Eli Manning, he's got 2 Super Bowls. He's just as good as Ben Roethlisberger, who has 2 Super Bowls. And again,
there's a word I have for that. Stupid.
Right. There was Ben was a different cat.
Mm-hmm.
When he came onto the block, he was this kid out of Miami of Ohio that I knew nothing about because I didn't care about NFL draft scouting back in the day. I didn't care at all. When I saw that they drafted Ben Roethlisberger, I went, who is that? And why are they putting the franchise, of one of the greatest franchises on the shoulder of this kid? I've had that same argument or that same thought in my head about every kid that came from a lower school. Josh Allen, same thing. Ben Roethlisberger was the one that broke it all for me, personally. To see a guy come in and be able to do the things that he could do. He was a dual threat. He was great.
I'm going to go trump card number 2. Ben played 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
In the 18 years directly preceding to him, how many losing seasons the Steelers have? In 18 years?
6.
It's exactly 6.
Okay.
People have this revisionist history that because Neil O'Donnell won a Super Bowl with him in the mid-90s, this was a pretty also-ran franchise from about the time let's see, specifically from 98 to about the time Ben got there. in the back half of the 80s. They're also ran. Yes, it's a historically great franchise. This was the guy that leveled everything off. And it's really hard to find this guy. This was Mr. Steeler. He fit the culture. He fit everything. And I could make the argument he made the careers of a lot of guys. Le'Veon Bell.
Right. Antonio Brown. Can't go there.
Antonio Brown's been good in other places.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Steelers players that left Pittsburgh and fell off the world.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is not even close. And if you're a Steeler fan, this should be a happy day, and it should be a partially sad day.
I mean, yeah, it's always going to be a sad day when the guy retires. I mean, New England Patriots fans went through this when Tom Brady left. Of what do we do now? Now half of them jumped over to the Tampa bandwagon, but
I do remember.
They went through that.
I do remember the day Tom left Tampa. God, that was left for Tampa.
Yeah.
God, that was a good day.
Knowing that
the sun shined brighter, birds chirped louder, beer tasted better.
Right.
It was just a good day.
Knowing that the Jets were out from under the reign of terror, and now you're back in it.
Well, we never really stopped. We had a couple speed bumps where we were good and didn't mean to be.
Right.
Ben's one of those guys that you can't really explain. It's really hard to explain this gigantic, hulking human who had a huge arm and was virtually impossible to bring down.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of quarterbacks that have been great over our lifetime that look strikingly similar. Eli Manning looks like 40 other quarterbacks that I could list through history. The discrepancy, there's no other Ben. There's never been a guy who literally was as athletic as the cup I'm drinking out of, speed-wise. I would wager by the end of his career, he was running the 40s and the 7s. And it didn't matter.
Right.
Because he was such a competitor, such a gamer, such a big physical individual. And he set the pace for this franchise for almost 2 decades. And now the uncomfortable part, and the second half of this discussion is if you're Pittsburgh, where do you go from here? What do you do now?
Right.
You're picking in the middle of the draft. There's not really a surefire quarterback. I can't get away from Kenny Pickett solely because the last time Pittsburgh had a quarterback, well, you boo-booed that one real good. Mm-hmm. So I'm not so sure you're going to do that again. But he's not a no-doubter.
No.
That's not a franchise quarterback. That's going to look much more like Mike Tomczak and Bubby Brister than it looked like Ben. But this team's so good. It's so talented. And before anybody says this, and I know somebody's going to, it's not Aaron Rodgers. Okay? Can we just kill that before we even start that? Oh, no. But him and Tomlin looked at each other and had a look in their eye. Stop.
No, he's going to Denver.
Oh, we'll talk about that later in the show. Yeah. I'm already tired of that, and Nathaniel Hackett hasn't even gotten on the plane to go to Denver.
It was the first thing I heard when I turned on, any sports radio this morning, and I went, "Oh, this is going to be fun." Jeremy's going to have a ball with that this afternoon.
Adam Black in our YouTube comment said apparently Colin Cowherd has been on this all day.
Mm-hmm.
That Roethlisberger was a horrible underachiever. Oh, if Peyton had the talent. Peyton did have the talent.
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw it with my own 2 eyes. He did have the talent.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Adrian James.
Yep.
And Scene.
Yep.
I'll take that over any 3 players that Ben ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So that argument is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson apparently is another one that just stop talking. Okay, just stop talking. I love Colin, but stop that.
Yeah. No, you got to be spicy. You got to have the takes, and you knew this was coming. You knew there were going to be people who said things like that, like he underachieved. They should have won more. Well, I mean, you talk to Steeler fans, and I don't want to rain on your parade or anything today because it is a day of celebration, a day of remembrance of what this guy did for your organization. But a lot of the blame has not gone to Ben. Who's been blamed for putting the cap on the success of the Pittsburgh Steelers? It's Mike Tomlin.
Which is also ridiculous.
I agree. But now we want to shift and say it's Ben's fault? No.
This is a team that has not missed the playoffs 3 years in a row since Ben got there.
Mm-hmm.
Not once. Didn't do it one time by accident. And to try to slight the career, say, oh, he's an underachiever, or the defense was so good. But was it, though? All right, we have this narrative that, oh, Ben had these tremendous defenses. Well, I mean, by that same token, if you go the last 9 years in the career, defense was only in the top 10 in total defense 3 times.
Right.
So, there was a lot of 18, 16, 20s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think back to the Super Bowl years. I mean, that was a hallmark of that team was the defense.
Oh, and that's why he gets slighted. Right, because people say it was because of the defense, and he just piggybacked on that. And he had Le'Veon Bell, and he had Antonio Brown, all the way to now with Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster and Chase Claypool.
Mm-hmm. Anybody could have outscored their opponents when I had Troy Polamalu and James Harrison, and Ben was great.
And Scott Cutshall just had the absolute, and to me this is the trump card, and this is the final word on this, and it's the perfect one. Ben was a beast for years. Don't let the last 4 years cloud your memory of him. And that's exactly what I feel like happens, is that you saw him age, and he aged at a rate. He came in the league after Brady and is going out before. And people think that means you didn't have a long, illustrious... No, this is what humans do.
Mm-hmm.
This is what people that have complex carbohydrates do.
Right.
That don't live on avocado ice cream and Ugg boots. All right, so don't let the fact he played in the Brady era sway your thought process on him. If you go back through the years, if he'd played in any other era than when he did, he would have been a top 4 quarterback in the league at any time. You remember earlier this week when we did the recasting the NFL?
Yeah.
Do you remember how quickly you got to Phil Simms?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty quick. Ben's better than Phil Simms. It's not even worth talking about.
Agreed.
That's one of those that I'll just look at you and go, there's 2 sides of an argument, the right side and the wrong side. You're on the wrong side. And you can do that through the years. I'm going to say this, and I firmly believe it. Ben Roethlisberger is a top 15 quarterback that ever played in this league. And I don't even think it's debatable.
You get no pushback from me on that one. I think he deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He deserves to be remembered for bringing Pittsburgh Steeler football, or at least playing the crucial role in bringing Pittsburgh Steeler football back to the NFL. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN. Asheville, coaching hirings going on all over the league. We're going to talk about Matt Eberflus up next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, it's not record cold for us, but a big blast of cold air coming in, and this is the kind of dry, cold air that roars in with these fronts this weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, lows down in the teens here in the valley. 28 our low tonight. Chance for a few light snows Friday afternoon, high 42, low 14 Friday night. And Saturday's high only 25 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
Compassion International has a network of over 300 church partners in Haiti, poised to bring critical relief to those suffering because of the recent earthquake. Make your $40 one-time gift now by texting the keyword radio to 97646.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive contains B-complex vitamins and alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
What is iHeartRadio? All your favorite music.
This is Tyler from 21 Pilots.
This is Dan from Imagine Dragons, and this is iHeartRadio.
All your favorite stations, where you live or where you used to live. And of course, virtually every podcast on the planet at your fingertips. And it's all free. If you don't already have it, download the free iHeart app today. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
iHeartRadio.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. It's time to call QC Kinetic, non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you your surgery is your only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. Do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics now. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517.
This is your Wendy's wake-up call. Start your day with a better breakfast and get a free drink with any of our morning-making breakfast sandwiches. That's your favorite drink in a Wendy's cup, free. Fresh brewed coffee, free. Diet Coke, free. Vanilla Frosty-Chino, that's cold brew plus Frosty Creamer plus free. So don't sleep on this deal. Get any size drink in a Wendy's cup free when you buy any breakfast sandwich. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's. A la carte only. Offer valid upon request on lowest price qualifying item. Not valid for third-party delivery.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Sometimes it's the little victories that mean the most. At Ingalls, we know there's no one you'd rather share those miniature memorable moments with than family. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
This week at Ingalls, select sizes and varieties Cheez-It crackers, 2 for $6. Select sizes and varieties Dunkin' Bag or K-Cup coffee, $4.98 each. And select sizes and varieties General Mills cereal, 2 for $5. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
We treat star athletes better because they're better people. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, kiddo. Get used to it.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene. First hour of the program, as always, brought to you by Ingalls. Low prices. Love the savings. Is Matt Eberflus the right call for the Chicago Bears? Jeremy, go ahead.
Let me answer that question as quick as I can.
No.
How stupid can you possibly be?
Now, come on. He led a good defense in Indianapolis.
The defense is not the problem. The problem is that you have a quarterback that's going to need a lot of, tutelage.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring in a defensive guy? Are you kidding me?
I agree 100%.
Oh, but he could bring in a great offensive coordinator. Yeah, that would take another job. If he can turn Justin Fields into anything, that coordinator will be a head coach in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's tied to the organization is the head coach. And look, Matt Eberflus, probably a great guy. Probably a guy I would love to sit around and have a cold beverage with. But if you had asked me before this process, what is the stupidest combination I could possibly see? I can't tell you this would have been the one. It would have been worth talking about.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but to me, this hiring plays in the long line of Chicago Bears football. Defense is king. Defense is the thing that the whole franchise was built upon.
It's weird. That's what the franchise was built upon. You remember that question I asked in the last segment about get me to the third best quarterback in Steelers history? Who's the best quarterback the Bears have ever had?
Jim McMahon.
All right, who's two? It gets very Jay Cutlery, Kyle Orton-ish in a hurry. And now you're completely leveraged, having given up a first-round pick, an extra first-round pick, to get Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
And now, not only do you bring in a first-time head coach, you bring in a first-time head coach who's a defensive guy. Somebody please make sense of that to me. And in the comments, Stephen tells that the Bears can't be too picky. You'd be surprised. There was more interest in this job than I would have ever thought there would be.
Right.
Because there were so many different grades on Justin Fields and different takes on the first year in the league. There were more offensive guys that were ready, willing, and able to sign up for this than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to like what I'm getting ready to say. I think Jim Caldwell was actually the answer. I know that sounds nuts when I say it.
Yeah.
But think about what he did with quarterbacks that, we'll be nice and say, had some limitations. Joe Flacco had some limitations. Did pretty good things in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Stafford had some limitations. Got the Lions to the playoffs.
Right.
But every team he ever had regressed. Now, why would that possibly be? Maybe because his quarterbacks got old. They got old and hurt.
Except
Looking
for
at
Matt.
stats and just... Matt Stafford was always limited, and that front office was a disaster.
Oh, I agree with you.
An absolute disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim Caldwell could have hired a phenomenal staff. And then you're tied to the guy. I wouldn't have cared if it was Nathaniel Hackett. I wouldn't have cared if it was Brian Daboll. Just somebody with a vision for this one player that your entire franchise is tied to. Ask you a theoretical question.
Okay.
How good does Justin Fields have to be for this franchise to not be in the pit of misery for the next 4 years?
How good does he have to be?
Mm-hmm. And I want you to think about the fact that in new GM, I don't know how you're going to be. I have no idea how he will draft with this team. I don't know. Ryan Poles from Kansas City. Look at the talent around him. All right, you got David Montgomery, who is very talented. We never had an issue with the talent. The line's not great. Your best receiver is a free agent and has no desire to come back. So you're telling me that you're going to bring in a defensive coordinator to oversee the tutelage of your young quarterback who's greatly flawed, and your current number one receiver is Darnell Mooney. How is that any different than what you've done over the last 30 years?
It's not. That's the thing. It's not really different. And the only thing that I can think is that the organization, the front office, and the ownership was looking at this and went, we went with an offensive guy last time and it didn't work. And now we're just going to go back to what works.
And to me, the only way I can rationale this is that the brain trust of this organization got burned by Ryan Pace, who came from he's a New Orleans guy. So he came from a up-pace, kind of spready offense. Got burned by Matt Nagy, who was a spread offense coordinator.
Yes.
And he went, nope, you know what? This is not how we do things in Chicago. We play good defense. Monsters of the Midway. Yeah, you're way closer to Monsters, Inc. than you are to Monsters of the Midway. Stephen Talbot. I got to give credit where credit's due there. Oh, that wasn't me.
Good one, Steven.
I mean, that's where you are.
Right.
This is my I'm mad today, and I promise you I'm going to get much more, we'll say, animated about this at the end of this here program. But I read this and went, you've got to be kidding me.
This was not the choice that you would have made. You would have gone with it.
And again, this is not a slight at Matt Eberflus. There can be a right guy, because I think he's a head coach in this league. I don't think he's a head coach here. There's a right guy in a wrong place, and that is the definition of what this is.
The only thing different to me about the successful coaches that the Chicago Bears have had and this hiring is that all of them had previous experience. Now you're going with a guy who has no head coaching experience.
Successful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do just to get about. I want to come back to what you just said.
Okay. Let's get just a bit outside.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
I can see I hit a nerve there. This could be fun. One thing that we do know is that Les Miles is crazy.
Yes, he is I mean, he ate grass routinely, and I think it had chemicals in it because it started to really mess with his brain.
And this has nothing to do with the off-the-field things and why he got in trouble with LSU and all of that. If you did not see the story, though, Jamar Chase, the star rookie wide receiver, says he was recruited by Les Miles, and Les Miles told him he couldn't play receiver. He wanted him to be a cornerback. He apparently just he didn't feel like he could catch well enough to play wide receiver.
Well, in fairness, he did have some hands issues, and there were some very astute draft prognosticators that said that could be a problem in the NFL.
Astute, yeah. That was you.
Hi. That's the thing I said.
Right.
But now I will say thank you, Les Miles, because your stupid take makes my stupid take look like a Tonka toy.
Yeah, Jamar Chase should not have been or could not play wide receiver in college. He wanted him to be a cornerback, but that's not to me, that's pretty dumb. That is very dumb. It's a very dumb thing. He did this with another player, Dak Prescott. He tried to recruit Dak Prescott to LSU and told him he couldn't be a quarterback. He needed to be a tight end.
Okay. I'm going to be real honest. You could do this with probably every coach in America.
I'm sure you could, but the fact that it's Les Miles to me is like,
that's why it's a story.
Yeah.
I've seen this story no less than 40 places, and every time I say it, I'm like, if that wasn't Les Miles, you would have never said it. But he's the Mad Hatter,
right?
The Kooky Madookie, the grass-eating lunatic, whatever you want to call him. That's the reason that becomes a story.
Of course.
Nick Saban's had some of those.
I'm sure he has.
Maybe not that bad.
We're not all the greatest at talent evaluations, and it just goes to show you that you can be a big-time coach and still get it wrong.
I have said on this show many times I am not a fan of snow. I don't like snow. It's inconvenient. It falls and it's pretty for an hour, and then it's icky.
Uh-huh.
Well, the Buffalo Bills may not be particularly fond of snow after a police department that had absolutely nothing to do with them took a subtle jab at them. The Lakewood Police Department it's a BD in Colorado, and they live by the adage that we live by on the show of don't do crimes. Well, over the weekend, by the weekend I mean Monday, they had a snow event. It's Colorado. It snows in Colorado a lot. So they put out a Twitter post warning the public of how to be safe. And this is what they said. There will be snow 2 to 5 inches tomorrow during the AM rush hour. So you know the routine. Make sure your tires have good tread, drive slowly, and give the same amount of room to nearby cars that the Bills gave to Travis Kelce with 7 seconds left to get into field goal range. You're taking shade from a police department in a city I've never heard of. That's not a good look.
Right.
And it's 100% accurate, too.
Oh.
Just play defense. We'd be talking about Buffalo and the Rams in the Super Bowl if you could have just played defense for 13 seconds.
Yep. That's it. I kept going back to there when everybody wants to talk about how we need to change the overtime rules. All you had to do was stop them.
I'm not still bitter. Just
the
Bills and the Rams, and I had tickets with plus and a large number on both of them. One of them with both of them that had a really big number on it.
Oh, we will be covering or live reacting to the conference championship games this Sunday. Don't forget to check that out. TheSportsocracy.com will be the live video link will be on there. But if you hit the button now and you go and hit subscribe, you'll get the notification when we come on at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon to cover both of the games. This is a whole lot of fun. If you haven't checked it out yet, we go crazy in the comments. We're just hanging out, watching football, generally drinking some beers. I'm pretty sure there will be some of that on Sunday as well.
Hey, as you do.
As we come to you on Sunday for those games. Both games, the marathon broadcast that will be Sunday afternoon. All right, so I said successful coaches, and you went, what successful coaches?
Name them. Name the successful coaches.
John Fox took them to a Super Bowl.
John Fox did not take them to a Super Bowl.
I thought
John
he did.
Fox did not win more than 6 games with them in any year that he was the head coach.
I thought he did.
Lovie Smith.
Lovie Smith was the one. Excuse me, Lovie Smith was the one.
And you know what? I'd love to give you Lovie Smith.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
Because he did lose a Super Bowl.
I was going to say he's the best
He also
coach.
went to the playoffs 3 times in 9 years.
Right.
So if that's your high water mark, you're pretty bad.
Well, look, that's all we got. We're the Chicago Bears, and that's all we got. Since Mike Ditka, there ain't been another good head coach here.
Yeah, Mike Ditka was the answer. And the rest were when they wore helmets that were made out of animals that were alive like 3 weeks ago. So, I mean, I don't, again, this is my I'm mad later today.
Yeah.
I am absolutely dumbfounded by the hubris of Bears fans.
Mm-hmm.
It is staggering to me. And I'll give you a couple stats as to why.
All right. And my fault, by the way, John Fox, he did go to Super Bowls with 2 different teams.
Yeah, John Fox went a combined 14-34 with the Chicago Bears.
Oh.
And he's one of the better ones.
He is one of the better ones. They ain't much doubt about that. The news this morning that started the fire hose on head coaching hires was Nathaniel Hackett, the quarterback's coach for the Green Bay Packers. He has gotten the head coaching job. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if this is the right move here. But he's going to the Denver Broncos. What are you going to do about quarterback? And, of course, the first thing everybody jumped to was, this means Aaron Rodgers is coming to Denver.
No, it doesn't.
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't mean that in any shape, form, or fashion. We've already covered that.
Right.
Why in the world would you leave the NFC to go deal with Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes,
Lamar Jackson,
et cetera? That makes no sense. You want to win. You want to get to Super Bowls right now, so you're going to leave a team that's gone to multiple NFC championship games, was the 1 seed, to go to that didn't make the playoffs with a first-time head coach because he was your offensive coordinator for 3 years? That makes sense to anyone. I cannot wrap my head around that thought. Now, alternatively, I do like this hire. I said this before. We once did a ranking of who would be my favorite coaching candidate.
Yes.
I would be way happier with this if I'm a Denver Bronco fan than I would have been with Dan Quinn.
I agree.
Dan Quinn could have hired a great staff. By the way, Dan Quinn's going back to the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
That's already
He's
official.
officially announced he is coming back as the defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Which might be the biggest win of the offseason for any team.
He'll just wait till next year to get that head coaching job.
Yeah, he might be the next head coach of the Cowboys. He might be sitting around going, Mike McCarthy goes 2-3. I bet I can get this.
I mean, you might be able to, but
especially with Kellen Moore as a finalist for the Dolphins.
I think we all know who the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys is going to be.
He may be the next head coach of the Dolphins. They have 3 finalists. Kellen Moore's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're talking about Sean Payton.
I'm talking about Sean Payton.
Well, he wouldn't be in the middle of the season, I can promise you that.
No, absolutely not. But Nathaniel Hackett going to Denver, see, this is a hiring that I can get on with. Because I have said on this program several times, in this day and age, I would not hire a defensive coach to be my head coach. I want to find the next guy. And people say, well, what has Nathaniel Hackett really ever achieved? Well, I mean, I think there's some merit to that, but also you got to think about it. I mean, he made serviceable offenses with bad quarterbacks.
Okay, I'm going to challenge you. When did he do that ever?
Well, when he was in Buffalo, I think he did the best he could when he had E.J. Manuel and Kyle Orton. That's
way more Kyle Orton than E.J. Manuel, but yes.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, what can you do with a guy who shouldn't have been in the league in the first place?
And they were mid-tier. They were a mid-tier offense.
Right. You think about the 2017 year with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That's the year.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've seen him do that I go, okay, that was pretty good.
Right, he did it with Blake Bortles.
Yeah, the only problem is, do you remember what happened the next year?
Well, they got killed by injuries.
They were 29th in the league, offensively.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't as killed by injuries as you think they were.
Okay.
He caught lightning in a bottle against a bad schedule. Now, that being said, he has been reasonably successful. He's a smart offensive mind, and I think he will hire a really good staff in Denver. And I can't emphasize this enough. He's good with quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
What's the only problem you really see for Denver? You don't have a quarterback.
Right.
And you have no idea who it's going to be. So you do the exact opposite of what Chicago did. Hey, our defense is fine, so you know what we shouldn't do? Hire a defensive coach. That's the thing that never made sense to me about the Dan Quinn thing.
Right.
That may be the greatest thing that ever happened to the Denver Broncos is Dan Quinn went, I think I changed my mind. Not so sure I want to do this.
So they were that close with Quinn.
I heard it was done.
Oh.
And then something happened, and I don't know what it is, but it's happened in the last 48 hours. And Nathaniel Hackett was their second choice, and before he could get on a plane to go to Jacksonville, trying to keep him away from the Jaguars. It's still funny to think about.
I don't think that Nathaniel Hackett's going to be calling his old buddies from the Bills or the Jaguars to fill this space.
No, I mean, he will do fine with the staff.
I'm sure he will.
He's very well thought of in league circles.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's just a ton of talent on this team. I mean, be really honest with yourself. And this is going to be a little weird considering he just came from an offense with Aaron Rodgers. When's he ever been on a team with this much talent? He's never been great. He's also never had what could even be defined as decent talent.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got a slew of receivers. You got a tremendous backfield. I don't know if Melvin Gordon will be back, but Javonte Williams, I would argue, is a top 8 running back in the NFL right now.
Yeah, I was going to say even if Melvin Gordon doesn't stick around, you can find a guy in the draft that can back up Javonte Williams and be just fine. I could care less
if Melvin Gordon's there or not.
Right. Javonte Williams to me is going to be a Pro Bowler.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're set. They are set at every position except for quarterback. I mean, I'm sure they probably have a spot on the offensive line that I'm not thinking about. But for the most part, you've got all the pieces there to be a competitive team in the AFC. You can make some noise in your own division. I don't think either of us expect them to immediately jump over the Los Angeles Chargers or the Kansas City Chiefs at this point. Or even the Raiders. But you find the quarterback, you got a smart offensive guy in the building, and your defense is going to be just fine.
I don't really have any reservations about the defense. I don't really have any reservations about this, other than the fact that I'm going to go Seattle Seahawks on this. Best case scenario, you're probably the third best team in your own division.
Right.
Worst case scenario, you are markedly the worst team in your division.
I don't know about markedly.
I like the Raiders better. I mean, we all know your Raider hatred. Okay?
I'm not.
Listen here.
This is not another Raider hatred.
We know how you feel.
This is not another Raider hatred.
Jim Harbaugh
moment.
Comes in the room. We're going to the Super Bowl.
And I will be fully on the bandwagon. I just don't know that that's going to happen.
I'm getting less sure that's going to happen.
I don't know that it is, because there's been no movement. There's been no talk about Jim coming in for an interview or anything.
Oh, you're not
like
going
that.
to hear about Jim coming in.
You won't?
No. That would be done as cloak and dagger as you could possibly do it.
Planes in the air.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're meeting each other at the airport in a plane going, did anybody see me come in here?
Right. They're going to secret hangar 103.
Yeah, you're not going to get, Jim Harbaugh's flying into Las Vegas. No, because he still has to recruit.
Right.
And if he doesn't take that job, it will be used against him forever.
Very true. Once he's making that trip, you know how it's going to end.
I'm going to be honest with you, and this is just a total aside on that Raiders job. I've heard there's more traction with Gerard Mayo than you would think. I can't. Not with another Patriot. I can't do another Bill Belichick coach. Okay, this is the first time we've had everything set to where we were not going to have any Bill disciples coaching teams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I mean, he deserves to get a job. Just can we wait a year?
According to a report earlier today, Gerard Mayo, D'Amico Ryans, and Todd Bowles were the ones that have already had sit-downs outside of the organization. Rich Bisaccia had his meeting with Mark Davis, and all signs point to it went well. So,
yeah, I don't think you can hire outside of the organization unless it's Harbaugh.
I would agree.
A guy that's coached the team to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it goes badly with a first-time guy that you hired over Bisaccia, that will hang over that franchise, and it won't take long either.
Yeah.
You come out and go 2-4, and you will have a big section of that fan base saying, why didn't we just keep Bisaccia? He got us to the playoffs. Just back the truck up to Jim Harbaugh. He'll take it, I promise you.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Jim Harbaugh and, taking his San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl a few years ago, I saw this stat today, and I just have to repeat it. In the last 18 Super Bowls, each game has included either Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, or the San Francisco 49ers. 18 years.
We do this same stat every year. All that happens is it modifies by the back end of that. That is the only part of that ever changes.
Right.
Ugh.
You're so tired of hearing it.
I am so tired of it. I want your quarterback to retire and go model Ugg boots.
He's going
or
to.
Whatever it is he does.
He's going
Drink
to.
avocado seltzer waters, whatever you got to do. Tom, I'm over it. All right? It's been 22 years.
Listen, you're going to get your wish after we win a Super Bowl next year with him.
No, you're not going to win a Super Bowl whether he's there or not.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. We got Jeremy's picks of the night, Greene on Greene. It's coming up next.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Here in Beer City, we take homegrown seriously. And since 2012, Wicked Weed Brewing has been pushing the boundaries of the industry. They've not only created staples like the Freak of Nature Double IPA, the Lieutenant Dank, and Pernicious, but they also opened the first sour beer tap room on the East Coast. Wicked Weed has also supported our local community to the tune of $1.6 million with the Beers That Build program. Visit one of their 4 locations, schedule a brewery tour, or place an order for pickup or delivery. WickedWeedBrewing.com.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches, weakness, or discomfort in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 selling nerve care company. Nervive contains alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, and B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live your life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com.
Want a deal you'll love on a Valentine's Day gift they'll love? Shop and save right now at Kohl's. Get 20% off Food Network bakeware, up to 50% off festive pillows and decor, and sterling silver diamond pendants for just $69.99. On top of all that, you can get an extra 15% off and earn Kohl's Cash. What are you waiting for? Get to Kohl's and celebrate the special moments for less. Select styles, 15% offer ends January 30th. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Imagine the organizing possibilities with Lowe's, where keeping it all together comes with Project Source Clear Storage Totes starting at $238 and iDesign plus the Spruce Storage Bin starting at $1298. Clean up your closet with the Closet-Made Brightwood Closet Kit starting at $119.98. Find it all at Lowe's Store and Save event in-store and on Lowe's.com. Lowe's, home to any budget, home to any possibility. Valid through 3/18. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. U.S. only. iDesign plus the Spruce Storage Bin. Pricing excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
A lot of players, they seek that bag in professional sports, and I have now decided the most important thing to me is seeking the next bag. The next bag from PhD Weight Loss. So when you go in there and you hit their benchmarks, they give you a little bag that's got just the amount of weight that you have lost. Going in for my weigh-in this week, down another 4 pounds thanks to PhD Weight Loss, and I feel great. I feel great because I'm getting all the nutrients that I need. In 8 weeks, I've lost 28 8 pounds, 27.5 pounds. Yeah,
I'm doing a lot of this over the phone. I do a lot of things in the morning. I can't always get over there.
Mm-hmm.
But I have over-the-phone consultations of what's working, what's not working, and now I'm down almost 22 pounds.
Yep, and our goal combined is 200 pounds. If you've got a lot of weight to lose, even if you just have a little to lose, go check them out at myphdweightloss.com. myphdweightloss.com, and tell them Tank and Jeremy sent you.
Coffee's for closers only. Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power. That watch costs more than your car. Then when you get the power, then you get the win.
Last night you had a win, you had a loss. You had another win, you had another loss. I just can't seem to get over the NBA's drunk, and it's just really starting to irritate me. There's only 2 games tonight, so I'm picking them both, and I'm picking them on both sides. First, the Philadelphia 76ers are a 2.5-point favorite tonight at home against the Los Angeles Lakers. Over-under is 218. Seth Curry probably does not play in this game. Danny Greene probably does not play in this game. Now, I'm looking at that slightly differently than everybody else is. A lot of people seem to be, because the over-under number keeps getting pushed down. They think because those 2 shooters aren't there that it's going to change the matchup.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. When you get to the backups of the Sixers, the pace goes up because you get way more, guys that don't defend at all. This is going to be the weird shootout that you don't expect it to be because these are 2 slow teams, and that number's reasonably high. I'm not picking the Lakers on the road. I don't care how bad the Sixers are at home. Give me the Sixers minus 2.5. Give me under the 218. And finally, the Golden State Warriors are home tonight to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Over-under is 229.5. The Warriors are a 6-point favorite. I understand there's no Draymond Green. I understand Klay Thompson's not quite acclimated. Here's the one thing you're never going to convince me of. D'Angelo Russell, the worst defender in the NBA on Steph Curry. Not that hard to figure out where I'm going. Give me the Warriors minus 6 over 229.5.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
And, of course, you can take those wagers over to BetUs.com. BetUS.com, use the promo code SPORTSOCRACY. They will give you a 125% deposit bonus, which means you put in $100, they give you $125 that you can just play with on them. 125% deposit bonus at BetUs.com using the promo code SPORTSOCRACY. So your record's been a little spotty the last few weeks.
Okay, it's not been a good month.
Just hard getting the flow
means?
of the season.
That's happened 2 times since we've been doing this show, and when I went on a heater after it, it got ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And you went like 17-2 in like 3 days or something. I mean, it was just unbelievable. So yeah, stick with it. It's gonna turn around. It's gonna turn around. The Charlotte Hornets. They looked pretty good last night. 158 points, the most ever for the Hornets.
So I have to tell this story. Adam Black yesterday was in the comments saying, take the under on the Hornets. and I saw it, and I wanted to say if I had 5 picks, the over on that game would have been the 5th one. Shooting woes don't tend to last, and they really don't tend to last when you play the Pacers.
Right.
The Hornets only needed, I think it was 60 points from Indiana to cover the over-under last night. Somebody sent me that score, and I went, why did I not take that? I stared at it.
That's a fun team to watch. They are so fun to watch, and I hope you're watching because it's been a long time since we've had something to actually cheer for when it comes to the Charlotte Hornets.
There's a lot of things to cheer for. Even if, I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're the best team in the East. I don't even think they're the top 3 best teams in the East.
Mm-mm.
But you're going to be in that 4, 5, 6 range. I don't think you'll end up playing that play-in tournament. And you've got a lot of exciting young players. There's a lot of reason to be excited about the Charlotte Hornets.
Yes.
Plus, they're fun. This is the most fun this team has been since the Larry Johnson years.
Yep.
I don't even
that
think
may
it's
be Baron Davis years.
Oh,
I mean, he had a couple of years. Where they were playoff.
Baron Davis was annoying, to say the least. He couldn't defend the can I'm drinking out of right now. Oh, he drove me crazy. I loved watching him play offensively, but good gracious, he drove me crazy defensively.
Yep. We got the second hour coming on the way. We'll talk to Jones Angell, voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Hopefully. Hopefully he'll be with us at 4 o'clock, as he is every Thursday afternoon. Last night, they won their second game in a row. Win one more. They call that a winning streak. The Tar Heels coming in 5th in the ACC right now. And do you think this is just where they are? Are they just the 5th best team in the conference, do you think?
That's about right.
Yeah.
They have deficiencies. I mean, they're a team that's going to be, with the trade deadline coming up in a couple weeks, they're going to be all over getting a big guy. I keep hearing Montrezl Harrell, but please, okay, don't do that. For whatever reason, every time Montrezl Harrell becomes in any way available, it is immediately him to Charlotte.
Wait, no, I was talking.
I have never understood.
No, I was talking about the Tar Heels.
Oh, sorry.
The Tar Heels, 5th best in the ACC.
Oh, the ACC is bad. My team got demolished last night by Georgia Tech, so I don't want to talk about. I'm gonna let Jones talk about ACC basketball because I am not allowed to have an opinion.
Well, we will talk to Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels. Tar Heel time coming up next here on ESPN. Asheville, next hour, we will also talk about the big holdup with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were close to signing Byron Leftwich, and then they flirted with Nathaniel Hackett. Now Nathaniel Hackett is the head coach of the Denver Broncos. They're still on Leftwich, but there's a hang-up there, and we'll tell you what that is coming up in the next hour here on ESPN Asheville. You are in the Sportsocracy. Sports Center is coming up next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, it's not record cold for us, but a big blast of cold air coming in, and this is the kind of dry, cold air that roars in with these fronts this weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, lows down in the teens here in the valley. 28 our low tonight. Chance for a few light snows Friday afternoon, high 42, low 14 Friday night. And Saturday's high only 25 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
Sometimes it's the little victories that mean the most. At Ingalls, we know there's no one you'd rather share those miniature memorable moments with than family. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
This week at Ingalls, select sizes and varieties Cheez-It crackers, 2 for $6. Select sizes and varieties Dunkin' Bag or K-Cup coffee, $4.98 each. And select sizes and varieties General Mills cereal, 2 for $5. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
Get smarter every day at Aussie.com. Try a new news site that tells you about the most interesting people, places, and ideas. Discover the next Obama, or maybe the next LeBron James. Try OZY.com right now. Aussie, it's like a latte for your mind. Get some.
What is iHeartRadio? All your favorite music.
This is Tyler from 21 Pilots.
This is Dan from Imagine Dragons, and this is iHeartRadio.
All your favorite stations, where you live or where you used to live. And of course, virtually every podcast on the planet at your fingertips. And it's all free. If you don't already have it, download the free iHeart app today. iHeart. Discover music, radio, and podcasts you'll love.
iHeartRadio. From the Ingalls Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Ben calls it a career. Ben Roethlisberger announces his retirement after 18 seasons and 2 Super Bowl rings with the Steelers. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Matt Eberflus is the new head coach of the Bears. He had been the defensive coordinator for the Colts. Eberflus will work with new GM Ryan Poles.
Matt Eberflus is a guy that he really liked, that the Bears really liked. I think he was the first candidate to go interview for that job for a second time, and the Bears have made the decision to hire Matt Eberflus as their head coach. he takes over with Ryan Poles, and there is your new brain trust in Chicago.
Adam Schefter on Greene. Adam also reports former Broncos coach Vic Fangio has interviewed for the Jaguars head coaching job. Jacksonville has talked with 6 candidates so far. And the Denver Broncos will name Nathaniel Hackett as the team's new coach. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi is asking the U.S. to stop its interference in the Beijing Winter Olympics, which are just a week away. Yi's comments refer to the U.S. not sending dignitaries to the games.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Pay. That's pay. Enter it on our station website now.
Log on now to ESPNABL.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Angell Supermarkets and Wicked Weed Brewing.
And once again, welcome into the Angell studio here for the Sportsocracy, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, live on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And of course, you can see the program everywhere at thesportsocracy.com. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. When you are there, it is 4 o'clock on a Thursday, and as always, we bring in the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Jones Angell. Jones, well, we're on we got 2 in a row now. As the movie Major League told us, you win one more, that's called a winning streak. It feels a little bit better now after the losses to Miami and Wake Forest, but the back-to-back wins definitely puts us a little brighter shade on the Tar Heels right now, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because Carolina's record is okay, not great, not terrible, 14-6 overall. 6-3 in conference play. They're right there in the mix in the ACC, just a game behind Miami, who's currently atop the conference standings, and all that is good. I don't think, though, Carolina feels like it's playing very well. I know the Tar Heels did not feel like they played well at all in those 2 road losses at Miami and Wake Forest. Just bad performances against 2 good teams, and I think both those teams played well in Miami and Wake in those particular matchups. And then, Tanky, of this week, Carolina, as you referenced, has won. One on Monday, one on Wednesday, so a bunch of games here tightly compacted together. But I don't think Carolina necessarily feels like it's played very well. They certainly haven't shot very well. They're below 40% now in 4 consecutive games. They had the lowest field goal percentage in Carolina basketball history in a victory last night, and that win over BC. Heels shot just 29.1% for the game and won by 11. So that should tell you the quality of that particular performance from both those teams, at least offensively last night. But at the end of the day, Carolina's got the record that we mentioned. They have a big game coming up against NC State on Saturday at 2 o'clock in the Smith Center. Then another fast turnaround to a Tuesday game against Clemson, and then they get to catch their breath and then host Duke the Saturday after that. So this busy stretch continues. Carolina will continue just to try and find a way to put these things in the right column when it's all said and done.
Boston College not the best of teams in the ACC, to put it nicely. But last night it was good to see at least get being scrappy enough to get the win when your leader Armando Bacot is not performing his normal.
Yeah, and I tell you, it's been crazy. Armando made his first 6 shots against Virginia Tech on Monday night. He entered that game shooting well above 60% from the field on the season and was the leader in the ACC by far in that category. And since that point, he is 2 of his last 23 from the field. So an extreme drop in the field goal percentage. And I think the wild part about it is it's not like these shots have been, crazy three-pointers that he's out taking that he has no business taking or something like that. There have been so many shots around the rim, layups and hook shots that he's very good at, and putback opportunities and, shots that he, throughout his entire career, has made at a really high rate. And so for whatever reason, these last couple of games, there's just a lid on the basket. And so to his credit, he has not let that affect other aspects of his game. He's continued to play good defense without fouling. He's rebounding at a high rate. He had 18 rebounds last night in the win over BC. And so, it is a weird stat, one that you would think would begin to regulate itself here in the near future. I do think he's being bothered a little bit by his hand. There is no injury there. Something happened in the Georgia Tech game, the one that was played in Chapel Hill, and he's just had some soreness kind of off and on his shooting hand since that Georgia Tech game. Again, I think there's no defined injury that he's playing through. It's just been a little bit uncomfortable for him. And so I do think that's affected him some. I think also the fact that he did have, that stretch where he went 29 points and 22 rebounds against Virginia and then 29 and 12 against Georgia Tech. If he wasn't already, I think that moved him to the top of every single scouting report that the opposition has. And so the other teams are paying so much attention to him, trying to make it difficult for him to catch it, trying to make him bothered around the rim, force him to go to the free throw line. If it's going to be a surefire two, they're going to foul him, put him on the line, make him earn it there. So I'll be interested to see how he continues to develop and if he can bounce back here coming up against State on Saturday afternoon. And then one final point, just to your point, I do think the silver lining in both these games, Virginia Tech, but most notably BC, is that Carolina did find a way to win, because we have talked about this. I do think one of the negatives about this team leading into this week was that if the shots weren't going in, they were having a hard time figuring out a way to win games. And now Virginia Tech and BC aren't top-tier teams right now, but Carolina figured out a way to win those games. And at the end of the day, that's what matters most. And so a positive in that regard for Carolina coming out of these two games on Monday and Wednesday.
Now, North Carolina is currently at 5th place in the ACC, 6-3 in the conference, as we said, 14-6 overall, but that puts us right there in the mix. I mean, it's not like anybody's running away with the league right now. I mean, a lot of talk is obviously about Duke being one of the best teams in the country, and they're going to continue to be right there at the top of the country. But you got in-conference play, at least, Miami and Notre Dame and Wake Forest, North Carolina, Florida State. There's a mash up there at the top right now, and I think it's a credit to Tar Heel basketball if they can at least stay within striking range of the top.
The negative, I think, the negative, I think, Tank, is that, you mentioned three of those teams right there, Notre Dame, Miami, and Wake, and those are the games that Carolina's lost. Right. And they've all been on the road, and Carolina does not get a return trip. That's just the way the schedule broke this year for them, is that they will not get Wake Forest, Miami, or Notre Dame in Chapel Hill. And so, unfortunately, they're not going to get an opportunity to play those good teams again in a place where they've been very good in the Smith Center this season. And so, if you're looking long-term, not just as far as the ACC is concerned, but for NCAA tournament berths, Carolina needs some quality wins. Again, the record's fine. The place in the ACC is good, and, the Tar Heels will continue, hopefully, to be in that conversation. They need some good wins, and the game against Florida State will be very important. The two games against Duke will be very important. The Tar Heels, they go on the road to Clemson. That'll be a big game because they need to pick up some quality victories. At Louisville, that game's coming up on Tuesday as well. So they need some good wins just to help bolster their resume a little bit, and that's just a factor of the ACC being a little bit down this year. So, a win, for example, at Georgia Tech back that Carolina had a couple weeks ago, most years that's a pretty solid win. Well, the Jackets don't have a great profile, and so that one doesn't help you as much as maybe it would in some other seasons. And so Carolina will need to take advantage of these opportunities that it has in the back half of conference play to not just continue to try to be at the top of the league or in that mix at the top of the league, but also help get them some quad one and quad two quality wins when it comes to NCAA tournament talk.
Yeah, speaking of that, bracketology from Joe Lunardi, the latest one has North Carolina in there as one of the last 4 byes, along with the Miami Hurricanes. They're in that discussion as well. Not typically what we're used to seeing from a Tar Heel basketball program, but I think all the Tar Heel faithful, we have faith in Hubert Davis and the Carolina way and all of that. What has Coach said about these shooting performances and how, does he have a plan, or has he shared a plan on how to try to get the guys out of this funk? Shooting 33% in the second half the other night in the win against Virginia Tech, and then, as you said, 29% in a win over Boston College last night.
Yeah, I think some of it, and there's an old story that Phil Ford likes to tell, Tank, where he was an assistant coach at Carolina, and Coach Smith was still the head coach at this time, and Carolina was missing a bunch of shots around the rim at the beginning of a game and had fallen behind, 12-4 or 14-6 or something like that early in the game, and missing a bunch of shots. And Coach Ford said something to Coach Smith. He said, "Do you think we should take a timeout?" And Coach Smith said, "And tell them what? We're getting exactly the shots we want. They're just not going in."
Right.
So I think some of that is that. Armando Bacot's not going to go 2 of 23 very often. And so part of that low shooting percentage is that, where I don't know what you do as a coach other than say, hey, let's make these instead of missing these, because you're getting shots around the basket, you're getting offensive rebounds and putback opportunities, you're getting 6-foot hook shots. Those are shots that the Tar Heels want. So some of that is, hey, let's just understand everybody goes through some little funks during the season. Let's just keep grinding. And then some of it, I do think Carolina got a little tired here over this stretch. They've played a bunch of games here recently. I think particularly last night you could see. And just the way that the roster has broken this season, that's back-to-back games that Carolina's played its starting 5 more than 34 minutes, every single player, because all of a sudden your main contributors off the bench, Anthony Harris, he's now unavailable for the rest of the year. Dawson Garcia gone for an indefinite amount of time, dealing with a family issue. So Puff Johnson, who I think is somebody that can be a big part for Carolina coming off the bench, but he's playing for the first time in over a year, and so they're trying to work him in a little slowly. So it has just been the way things have broken down. I think the minutes are piling up a little bit too, which has made things more difficult as far as staying fresh and just making sure that you're at your peak every single night. And then the third part of that is Carolina's got to execute better. And when they move the ball and space the floor and move themselves, we've seen Carolina have some really attractive offense this year. There was that stretch against Virginia and Georgia Tech just a couple weeks ago when the Heels were really clipping at a high rate offensively, and just it was attractive to watch. They were getting good looks, either looks around the basket or open three-pointers, the shots that they wanted. That has stagnated here in recent weeks. And so I do think, one, you just have to assume that Armando Bacot is going to be more efficient than he has been, because that is what his whole career has shown you. Two, I do think the minutes piling up a little bit, so you got to hope that you can start working in Puff Johnson, Justin McCoy, Kerwin Walton, if they can continue to give you something off the bench. And then three, Carolina's got to get back to executing at a level that we have seen them do before, but for whatever reason has been missing here these last couple of games.
Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, joining us here in the Sportsocracy. Jones, we got Saturday coming up, the big game with NC State. I realize that, NC State, not one of those top teams in the conference, but a rivalry game nonetheless. And then we got Louisville.
And I think it's a wild card type of state team, right? I mean, they're 10-11, 3-7 in conference play, and obviously those aren't very good records to your point. But I think this is a really scary team because they've got three guys averaging better than 14 points per game in Sebron and Helms and Smith, the freshman. They have really, and I don't say this in a way that I'm suggesting State doesn't play as a team, so don't get me wrong, but they've got really talented individual scorers. And I feel like any one of those guys can have a night where he's just unconscious and, can put up 30 or 28 and hit some really difficult shots. Jericho Helms has always been somebody who can just make tough shots. And so you can do a lot right defensively, and they can still hit a bucket against you. Also, State likes to drive to the basket. They've got those guys that I just mentioned, particularly Sebron, is really, really they are athletic players, and they like to get downhill and going to the hoop. And Carolina at times has struggled with that this year. And so it's a challenging matchup, I think, for Carolina, even if the stats and the records suggest that the Tar Heels should be a heavy favorite. I don't think that's the case. I think this is a tricky matchup for the Heels that they'll need to play well to have a chance to win. And then I think I cut you off and you were about to say then they go to Louisville.
Right.
And who knows with Louisville right now. They just fired Chris Mack. Seems like they're having all kinds of issues. But they're talented. That's always a hard place to go play. It is at the end of this really long, busy stretch of games for Carolina where they've just had a bunch of games jammed in there together, so the Heels will certainly be fatigued a little bit. They have struggled on the road, and I think when you have a team that's clearly gone through some turmoil like Louisville has, there's always that possibility of them having the one game where they all band together and it really comes together for them, even if that's not something they do on a consistent basis. And so while Carolina likely on paper will be favored in these next two games, I think they're challenging matchups against both State and Louisville.
Agreed. And next time we talk to you, Jones, next Thursday, we will talk about the big one. We got the Duke game coming up next Saturday. All the games heard right here on ESPN Asheville. Saturday is 2 o'clock tip time, 1 o'clock with the pregame show, and we will chat with you then.
Sounds good, Tank. Look forward to it, and talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. And go Heels here on ESPN Asheville. I'm so excited because I'm at the quarter pole. I'm at the quarter pole with PhD weight loss. 120 pounds is my goal, and I'm down in 9 weeks, 30 pounds. I am having great success with the PhD weight loss program. And Jeremy, I know I've got you beat by a little bit, but again, I had more weight to lose than you did.
You beat me to it. I was going to say that exact same thing to defend myself.
Yes.
I am down 21 pounds, and one of the things I love about this so much is the convenience. That's how I got into this shape in the first place. Fast food was always more convenient. Now I have healthy, nutritious food that's actually good for me and good for my goals, thanks to PhD weight loss.
And we're looking good. When you look at the two of us, you can tell the weight has just fallen off with PhD. And if you need to do the same thing, you've got health issues like type 2 diabetes. They can help you alleviate those problems by getting rid of that unwanted fat. MyPhDweightloss.com. MyPhDweightloss.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, it's not record cold for us, but a big blast of cold air coming in, and this is the kind of dry, cold air that roars in with these fronts this weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, lows down in the teens here in the valley. 28 our low tonight. Chance for a few light snows Friday afternoon, high 42, low 14 Friday night. And Saturday's high only 25 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Laria-Moore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 240 eastbound between exit 3 and exit 4A. 240 on the westbound side is slow between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. Future 26 eastbound slow between Riverside Drive and 240. Smoky Park Highway northbound approaching Sand Hill Road slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound after the Blue Ridge Parkway to Mills Gap Road delays. Hendersonville Road moving well. An accident reported on Boylston Highway near Ferncliff Park Drive near the Davis Event Center. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Compassion International.
Compassion International has a network of over 300 church partners in Haiti, poised to bring critical relief to those suffering because of the recent earthquake. Make your $40 one-time gift now by texting the keyword radio to 97646.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. It sure feels good to step into a warm car after letting it heat up for a few minutes. However, this practice wastes gas, increases emissions, and pollutes the air. Limit idling your car to no more than 3 minutes to save money at the gas station and improve air quality. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
For my small bookstore to thrive, I can't just sell books. So I created a radio ad at iHeartAdBuilder.com to tell everyone about our author events, our story hours for kids, and our amazing lattes. Now we're busier than ever. I'd call that a success story.
A custom radio ad from iHeart Ad Builder is the fast, affordable way to drive customers to your business. Put the power of radio to work for you. Get started now at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
There's a lot of talk about the COVID-19 vaccines, and everyone has an opinion. So I went to somebody I already trusted, my doctor. Talk to your doctor or healthcare provider and make the decision that's right for you. Go to getvaccineanswers.org for the latest information. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents.
And Doug.
Don't you just love the smell of old books?
Shh, this is a library.
Sorry, ma'am. We're looking for a book titled Liberty Mutual Customizes Your Car Insurance so you only pay for what you need.
I don't think we carry that, but check nonfiction.
He really does devour literature.
Please leave.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Here in Beer City, we take homegrown seriously. And since 2012, Wicked Weed Brewing has been pushing the boundaries of the industry. They've not only created staples like the Freak of Nature Doubled IPA, Lieutenant Dank, and Pernicious, but they also opened the first sour beer tap room on the East Coast. Wicked Weed has also supported our local community to the tune of $1.6 million with the Beers That Build program. Visit one of their 4 locations, schedule a brewery tour, or place an order for pickup or delivery. WickedWeedBrewing.com.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene here with you on the Sportsocracy. Heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, seen everywhere at thesportsocracy.com. We've had head coaching hires. We've already talked about Nathaniel Hackett being the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. Matt Eberflus as the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
There's a name I'm not really looking forward to having to say for the next 2 years until he gets fired.
Eberflus? Because it's difficult to say?
It is.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it doesn't
roll off.
It doesn't floose very well off of the tongue. But we've got rumors all over the place about who's going to be taking these next jobs or the rest of the open jobs. And the Jacksonville Jaguars have their man, we believe, but he's making demands.
Depends on who you believe.
Yeah, the report is that Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course, former quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, is interested in this job. He's had an interview already. Has he already had the second interview? Okay, I remember them saying he was going to have the second, but I couldn't remember if he had it or not. But apparently the reports are that he wants the job, but not if Trent Baalke's around.
And I have said this for weeks, that Byron Leftwich wants this job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what I didn't tell you. There were a slew of candidates that refused to interview with the Jaguars because of Trent Baalke.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of the most contentious people you will ever deal with. I've never laid eyes on the man, but I can tell you from people that have, do you happen to know where Trent Baalke started his career?
San Francisco?
With the New York Jets.
Oh, of course he did.
What team am I most connected to in the NFL?
The Jets.
The New York Jets. I genuinely have never communicated with a person that had a positive word to say about him. Now, let me ask you another theoretical. What do you think Trent Baalke's record is as a GM across 3 head coaches?
I'm gonna say it's under 500, but barely
59 and 67. And now I need you to understand that 2 of those were 10-plus win seasons with Jim Harbaugh.
Yes,
you
I
take
knew that
Jim
would skew
Harbaugh
it a little
away,
bit,
and he's been a disaster, an absolute abject disaster. And he's a jerk, and he's tied to Urban Meyer. I understand that it was an arranged marriage. I get it. This is the easiest thing in the world to figure out. And for some reason, Shad Khan cannot figure these things out. What is the purpose in keeping him? I didn't understand it when you promoted him.
I have no idea.
Why? So, best case scenario, Urban Meyer was running everything. When you had one of the most confusing drafts I've ever seen, where you got thrown into a tailspin because the Giants took Kadarius Toney at 20, which ultimately led to you taking a running back, which was the strongest position on your roster, at 25 and Travis Etienne, who didn't play a snap. Now the rubber's met the road. Do you know who the alternative is? If they refuse to hire to fire Trent Baalke,
I don't know.
Who's the worst name I could say right here?
The worst name you could say right here?
I have this on super good authority. That if it's not Byron Leftwich, it's the name I'm getting ready to say.
I have no idea.
It's Vic Fangio.
Oh, my.
It's Vic Fangio. And do you know why? Because no one wants to work with Trent Baalke.
Right.
No one.
Right.
So now you've got this potential arranged marriage of 2 guys that want to work together, are on the same page, can tutor your young quarterback, are revered around the league. In Buccaneers offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich and Cardinals executive Adrian Wilson, who would be the new GM.
Yes. Because
this is the easiest thing to figure out in the history of time. You asked me earlier if that was normal for a candidate to ask that. The answer to that is no, not really. Because if that was a problem, you wouldn't have interviewed for it. So the fact that he did interview for it tells me 2 things. One, he really wants this job, which, if you're Jacksonville, should mean the world to you.
Indeed.
And 2, he actually thinks they'll do it.
Well, he should. He should think they'll do it.
Nothing Shad Khan has ever done would make you think he's going to make the right decision.
Well,
this is a guy that owns a pro wrestling organization.
I understand what you're saying, but I mean the relationship between Shad Khan and Trent Baalke, I don't think it's been on the best footing.
It has been forever. He's been the favored guy in the organization.
Really?
That's how he's still here. They've wiped out everything from the Urban Meyer era except one thing, because Shad Khan is comfortable with him.
Right.
Now, if you believe Mike Jurecki, who I do, longtime Arizona Cardinals reporter, he says it's already done. That Adrian Wilson is already the new GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They just haven't announced it yet.
Okay.
And now I'm going to tie that into what I've heard forever. Byron Leftwich is going to be the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes. I don't think there was any way getting around that. It would just kind of shocked me and I saw a lot of this response on social media as well of who does this guy think he is? He's a head coach, first-time head coaching, in the league, and he thinks he can come in and make these types of demands? Well, yeah, because he's the guy that wants the job.
Of course he does. Because this is a clown organization to the point of your fan base wore clown outfits to your last home game.
Right. It should tell you everything you need to know as the owner. Somebody said in the comments that he should have asked for Shad Khan to be fired. Well, that's not how this works. You can call for the ownership to change because you come in. But you can very well go to that guy and say, I would love to take your job. I am invested in the success of the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise, but we can't do it with this guy. I don't think that's too far to go.
It's not. And the only thing that gives me pause for concern is that this is an organization that has historically not done the right thing. After Let's Get Weird, I'm going to say what it is about Jacksonville that makes me nervous. and why this is the only move you can possibly make.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
All right, now comes the time where I tell on myself. I know nothing about cars. I know absolutely nothing about cars. On the last show I worked on over on 570 WWNC, we had a soundbite that we used to play all the time because, I mean, I can't help anybody. If you're stranded on the side of the road, I'm no good to you. I will come up and just go, did you check the manifold? Because I know nothing.
Yeah, that's actually the line he always goes to. Have
Yes.
you checked the manifold?
Oh,
What's real fun is when he asked me that about my computer.
Right. Like, I don't know any of this stuff. But forever, growing up, I was told that when it's cold outside, what do? Before you drive away,
turn the heat on.
You turn the car on. You got to let it run for a while. You got to let it warm up before the car gets going. You know, that's not a thing.
Yes.
I didn't know that was. I didn't know that was not a thing. And I found this article, and I feel like I needed to share it with all of the other car idiots out there like me. That no, the AAA says that's not a thing. Like, apparently it used to be a thing in older cars, which, I mean, it gives me the excuse to still do it in my car because it's ancient.
There you go.
But that, no, you don't have to do that. Newer cars don't need to do that. Older cars do. It's something to do with the breaker point ignitions and all of that, like the gas and the air mixture needed to be warmed up to help the engine go.
I love that he's reading this off a screen and still ended it with thing. The gas brake engine thing.
Yeah, whatever a breaker point ignition is, you used to need to do that, but cars 15 to 20 years newer, you don't have to do that anymore. I've been lied to my entire life.
Oh, see, I'm a house cat. If you know where I live, you could steal my car before I leave for work every single day because I start it and then I take my little house cat self right back into the house where it's warm.
Well, that's not safe.
My wife's an insurance agent. That car, like me, is worth more dead than alive. I promise you.
Mine's not.
In this segment, I regularly say don't do crimes. And this is a crimes that gives me a question.
Okay.
And I'm going to post this on our social media after the show. Surprise, surprise. Where do you think this emanates from? What state do virtually every one of my stories come from?
Florida.
A Florida man. His name is Martin Jose Alvarez. He did crimes. He was at a Waffle House.
Okay.
Which, if you've ever listened to this show, you know that my take on this is it might as well have said Florida man Martin Jose Alvarez was intoxicated, sitting in a Waffle House. Well, apparently as his food was cooking, he became a little perturbed and screamed out, "You better cook the blank bacon right." Which immediately made me ask the question, what is the wrong way to cook bacon? How do you cook bacon in the not correct way? It's all good. If you like it crispy, if you like it wispy, anything short of eating it raw is the right call.
Chewy. I needed a little chewy.
Anyway, according to Local 10 News, officers showed up to the Waffle House and Alvarez was unleashed and screaming at the staff over how they were cooking his bacon. Police told Alvarez it was time to get out of there, which apparently he was not fond of, until they said, "We will tase you if you don't leave." At that point, he decided that his bacon was not that important and was taken to the Lee County Jail. You got arrested over bacon.
Now, if somebody had stole my bacon, that's a different story.
He didn't even get the bacon to the plate.
There is
no way to make bacon.
That is the rule number one. You never get arrested before you get the bacon.
It is pigskin happiness, okay? Don't burn it, because burnt bacon is gross. Like everything else, don't burn it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, win. It's a win. Oh, it's a little undercooked, it's a little bitty. Win. Is it good and crispy? Better win.
Oh, you're a crispy bacon guy?
I don't really care. As long as it's not burnt, I don't care. Or raw. I don't want to lick the pig. So please don't not cook it.
Right.
I need it to hit some form of heat.
Right.
As long as it changes color, I don't really care how it ends. Are there people that are really that picky about bacon?
I mean, I guess. I mean, if I'm making it at home, I'd much rather it be on the medium rare side than to be on the well done side. I'm not a big fan of crispy bacon, but I'm not going to be picky about it, and I'm not going to complain about it. If you're making bacon, I'm in. I don't care what shape it's in, as long as it ain't, black and crumbly.
Here's my thing. When people say, I'm making bacon, do you want any? My first question is not, how did you cook it? It's usually, how much of it do you have?
Right. How much can I have?
Can I eat without you getting angry at me? That's like asking somebody, how would you like your happiness?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like it to be super happy or just medium happy?
I do ask, though. If I'm cooking bacon for other people, I have to ask.
I don't ask squat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm doing? Making bacon. You know what you're not going to do? Complain about it.
Oh, they will. There are plenty of people that will complain if your bacon is a little, as it was said in the comments here by Jason Trump, a little limp.
It's like when people ask me, do you want a beer? My first question is not, what kind is it? Because my favorite beer is the next one. You're giving it to me. I'm going to consume it.
Right. Unless it's Guinness, and then I'm not in.
Yeah, I can't do that. I don't need a chocolate milkshake beer, and I don't want to do that even a little bit. Or hot. I can't do hot.
No.
I mean, I can do kind of hot. And it also depends on how many cold ones I had before that. But that's we're picking nits now.
Right. Are we talking about 4:30 in the afternoon on the beach? The cooler's been sitting there all day, and oops, somebody left it open.
Oh, if it's 4:30 on the beach, the fact that I know where I am is we're doing much better than we could have been doing.
I was trying to hit my bell, but it's not working.
Oh, did you break your bell there, ham hands?
I think I did. I think I broke it because it's stuck. It's not doing anything. There it goes.
You got the broken one because I use the bell more often.
Oh, did you switch them out?
I didn't on purpose, but I'm not against it.
Okay. All right, so let's get back to Jacksonville Jaguars here. What is it that concerns you about the Jacksonville Jaguars moving forward?
I have a funny feeling. And now, understand, I firmly believe that Adrian Wilson's going to be the new GM of the Jaguars. And I think Byron Leftwich is going to be the new head coach.
Okay.
If you told me there was an impediment, because today is our 2-year anniversary of doing this show. And in the 2 years that we've done, I have learned one thing. If you look at where the sources come from, it's very telling as to who's putting this out there. The Vic Fangio thing, I could argue, is coming from Byron Leftwich's people.
Ah, to rile up the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Of, hey, Shad Khan, do you need me to hit you in the head with this? Go to Twitter and search Byron Leftwich. There are a lot of tweets that I can't say on this show because this is abundantly obvious. And what Jacksonville has to do is not what the Bears just did, because your whole franchise depends on one player. The whole franchise.
Yes.
Your number one, no doubt, home run swing quarterback, because these kids just don't come along that often. And if you screw this kid up, who was as practically can't miss as they come, I hate that term, but still, there's going to be a stink on that for a long time. This is not Blake Bortles. This is not Blaine Gabbert or any of the slew of quarterbacks they've had over the years. This is a kid you could not screw up. And now you're telling me this comes down to, I can have a hotshot coach who has worked with Tom Brady, who played for this franchise and brings back memories of days gone by, with a hotshot GM that wants this job. Or I can have a retread schmuck of a GM with quite possibly the worst head coach I've seen in the NFL in the last 10 years.
Aside from the one that they just fired.
Again, it's the second time you've done that to me today. You're right.
Yeah.
But I have washed that out of my head.
Okay.
It didn't even happen.
I'm sorry.
This is not that hard. Oh, but Byron Leftwich is not proving anything in this league. That's how bad of a franchise you are.
Mm-hmm.
That a guy who has never been a head coach that could actually incite your fan base and actually be really good for your young quarterback, they have the right to make demands. As big a train wreck as you have been, they have the right to make demands. And I have this on very good authority. Byron Leftwich is not going to bend on this. If Balky's in, he's not.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem, they don't have an alternative.
Because nobody wants the job.
Brian Daboll flat out said, nope, not going to do it.
Yep.
And he's not the only one. You could get into a dangerous territory, of which I would argue Vic Fangio is a dangerous territory, but in a hurry, you have to do this. This is not what do I want to do? You have to do this.
I agree. Who do you think is the next one? What's the next domino that's going to fall? Is it Brian Daboll to the Miami Dolphins?
I don't know. I was completely set that I knew what was going to happen in Miami until I heard a report today. I think this came from Ian Rappaport. The Dolphins have 3 finalists. Brian Daboll is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mike McDaniel from the San Francisco 49ers is one, and Kellen Moore is the other. Apparently, the brain trust of the Miami Dolphins want whoever this coach is to retain most of the defensive staff. I'm not sure Brian Daboll is going to go for that. He's been pretty measured on what job he was going to take. I don't know that he goes for that.
Yeah.
I had not heard that until today. And that makes me think it's way more likely that it's Kellen Moore. Could be Mike McDaniel, but I don't know how you're going to sell that. I mean, I think he's a brilliant guy. I've heard him talk.
His press conferences are fun.
He's a very bright kid.
Yeah.
He also would no doubt win the record of smallest NFL head coach ever.
Right.
Mike McDaniel, I was the same size as him once. 5th grade was a lot of fun. He's 5'8", $135.
Yikes.
There's the smallest coaching candidate I have ever seen, but he's so bright.
Right.
And that would make sense. Your defense had improved towards the end of the year, and you've got one of these guys that haven't necessarily been in the league that long. Kellen Moore's only been in the NFL a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, most of the staff that he's worked with, you wouldn't necessarily want. Dan Quinn's staying in Dallas, so you're not going to get a lot of defections there, I don't think.
Right.
Mike McDaniel, a lot of that San Francisco staff just went to the Jets when Salah left.
Mm-hmm.
Those two would make more sense. And I don't have any insight on that at all. I've been told it's Daboll. But now I'm starting to read tea leaves going, maybe there's one of these guys that's just blown them away, and that's who ends up being the next coach of the Dolphins.
It does strike me as a little strange that, you wouldn't give the head coach that kind of power, but I can also understand it from a standpoint of your first-time head coach. We already have a good staff. We just want to add you into the mix of it.
Oh no!
What?
Oh, I saw this in the comments, but I didn't read it right the first time. We have 2 breaking newses, and they're both funny.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
The USFL has named its 2 newest head coaches.
I saw one of these. It's great.
Which one did you see?
The one that used to be in the state.
That would be Larry Fedora, who is the new head coach of the New Orleans Breakers.
Yeah.
The Michigan Panthers have hired their coach as well. You don't know what I'm about to say,
No, I don't. I have no clue.
It's Jeff Fisher.
All right.
It's hard to miss on a USFL hire. And I could argue you did it 2 times in the same day.
Oh, man. No faith in Jeff Fisher anymore?
Oh, no.
No.
I've said this before. I've never seen a coach that went from way up high to way down low faster than Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
I used to think he was the best coach in the NFL.
I don't know. Larry Fedora, he kind of fits that narrative as well.
I never thought Larry Fedora was a great coach. I used to watch him and go, this is not replicable, right? Like, the more time goes on, the easier this is to figure out. And then they did.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the other candidates that you went, nope, got to lock up Larry Fedora and Jeff Fisher?
Bud Kilmer.
I was going to say the assistant coach in The Waterboy.
The Cajun one? Yeah. You like the what?
That is the only thing I got.
No, that's not the only thing you got. You know what else you got? You got 5 on it. All right, time for Jeremy's picks tonight. How did the 5 on it go last night?
Not badly. We made money last night. That is always the goal of this segment. You want to make money. Tonight, we're all college. There's only 2 NBA games. I'm not going to lie to you. I had to pick them because I pick NBA and green on green. That's how it works, okay? You had figured out the stature of the show. That's how it goes. I got 3 of them tonight, all in college basketball. First, I got 25 on it. Cal takes on UCLA tonight. The over-under of that game is 128.5. That's really low. And I understand Cal is one of the slowest teams in the Pac-12. They're not a good offensive team. They're not good, period. UCLA is. UCLA may cover 2/3 of that number by themselves. I wouldn't be shocked if the score of this game was somewhere in the neighborhood of 87-67. And they just blow this out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this number and I went, that's way too low. I got 25 on it, over 128.5 between the Cal Bears and the UCLA Bruins. I got 50 on it. The Stanford Cardinals, an 11.5-point dog tonight at USC. Let's be real honest here. Stanford's a borderline tournament team. They have a 3-game stretch right here where if they win 2 of the 3, they're probably going to make the tournament. For Stanford, that's a high watermark for them. This team's not bad. They beat USC the first time they played them. And now because you're going to USC, they're an 11.5-point dog. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. This team's entirely too good to be that much of a dog. I've said USC is overrated for a couple weeks now. I think USC's overrated, Stanford's underrated. That gives me a line I can take advantage of. I got 50 on it, Stanford plus 11.5. Finally, the Purdue Boilermakers take on Iowa tonight in Iowa. I got 50 on it. I'm taking Purdue minus 2.5. This Iowa team can score. The only thing is they haven't played many teams that can score with them. And so I think that's skewing this number a little bit. And for whatever reason, the disrespect on Purdue is getting to a stupid point. I've watched that team a lot, and they are phenomenal. This line's wrong. It should be at least a bucket higher. I would have set this somewhere in the 4.5 to 5 range. I think they missed it. I got 50 on it. Purdue minus 2.5 tonight at Iowa.
And take those wagers over to betus.com. BetUS.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy and get that 125% deposit bonus. Just use the promo code Sportsocracy. Larry Fedora, Jeff Fisher, now coaches in the USFL.
Phenomenal.
I remember us talking about the first batch of head coaches that were hired with Todd Haley in Tampa Bay and Kevin Sumlin with the Houston Gamblers. I don't remember seeing the Birmingham Stallions hired Skip Holtz.
Yeah, they did it. So they hired 4. Then they hired 2 more. It was him and Andrews, I think, that got hired right there.
Yeah, Bart Andrews with the Philadelphia Stars.
Yeah, he worked for the Steelers. It's fine. But I do feel like Todd Haley has to be looking around going, I accepted this way too early.
Kirby Wilson is the other one.
Kirby Wilson was the one that worked for the Steelers.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah. I got the names confused.
Yeah, Kirby Wilson's with the Pittsburgh Maulers. Bart Andrews is the head coach of the Philadelphia Stars. Man, can't wait for that USFL action.
I have to wash my hair that day. All of those days.
All of those days.
You want me to tell you another thing that doesn't make any sense to me? They're playing all the games in Birmingham. Why do we have city names but that doesn't make, you're never playing so they don't actually represent that town because your stadium's not there.
Well, I did see that the tickets are going to be $10 a piece, so.
I will give you 47 cents. No more, no less.
This is not a bargain.
I don't want to rob you, but you shan't rob me. 47 cents.
All right, coming up next, Jeremy is mad, and he's mad about one particular head coaching hire that went down today in the NFL. We'll hear all about it coming up next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing 240 eastbound between exit 3 and exit 4A. 240 on the westbound side slow between Merriman Avenue and US 1923, exit 3. Future 26 eastbound delays between Riverside Drive and 240 Sweden Creek Road southbound after Mills Gap Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Delays. Hendersonville Road moving incident-free. On the Charlotte Highway, no backups. Tunnel Road moving well. And Swannanoa River Road, no delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Ad Council. Attention thrifters. Those awesome finds you get at Goodwill are even awesomer than you realize. Because as a nonprofit, Goodwill uses your purchases to fund job training and more in our neighborhoods. Learn more at goodwill.org. Sponsored by the Ad Council.
Sometimes it's the little victories that mean the most. At Ingalls, we know there's no one you'd rather share those miniature memorable moments with than family. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
This week at Ingalls, select sizes and varieties Cheez-It crackers, 2 for $6. Select sizes and varieties Dunkin' Bag or K-Cup coffee, $4.98 each. And select sizes and varieties General Mills cereal, 2 for $5. Ingalls, low prices, love the savings.
A lot of players, they seek that bag in professional sports, and I have now decided the most important thing to me is seeking the next bag. The next bag from PhD Weight Loss. So when you go in there and you hit their benchmarks, they give you a little bag that's got just the amount of weight that you have lost. Going in for my weigh-in this week, down another 4 pounds thanks to PhD Weight Loss, and I feel great. I feel great because I'm getting all the nutrients that I need. In 8 weeks, I've lost 28 pounds, 27.5 pounds. Yeah, you go.
I'm doing a lot of this over the phone. I do a lot of things in the morning. I can't always get over there. But I have over-the-phone consultations of what's working, what's not working, and now I'm down almost 22 pounds.
Yep, and our goal combined is 200 pounds. If you've got a lot of weight to lose, even if you just have a little to lose, go check them out at myphdweightloss.com. myphdweightloss.com, and tell them Tank and Jeremy sent you.
Staples has the tech and tools you need to take on the future of work. This week at the Lenovo IdeaPad 5i with Intel i5 processor for just $549.99. You save $108. In-store only. Offer ends 1/29/22. Limit 2. Staples, the working and learning store.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg, and cheese or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Dirty Turkish shark back flat. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore. Shark back flat.
Good. Let the hate flow through you.
What do Steve Wilkes, Vance Joseph, and John Fox all have in common?
Losing coaches.
What else do they have in common? They were coaches that were given very high-end draft prospects, and they crashed them in the side of a mountain. And do you know why? Because they're not offensive coaches. And they had quarterbacks that needed very specific kinds of discipline, which is exactly what Justin Fields needs. There are some quarterbacks, and I look to Trevor Lawrence for any coach that's not Urban Meyer, Andrew Luck, and guys like that. You can't screw them up. There is a whole nother subset of quarterbacks that get drafted in the first round that needs very specific kind of tutelage, a very specific kind of coach. And the Chicago Bears basically just looked at all of that and went, nope, that's not how we do things as the monsters of the Midway. Well, you know what you do? You know what you really do? You waste draft capital time and time and time again on prospects that, oh, this is going to be the one that finally breaks the string. But it doesn't happen. And do you know why? Because the way you think never changes. I said this last offseason. Matt Nagy is not the guy to develop Justin Fields. But, and every Bears fan that watches anything we do said, the Bears don't do things that way. That's not how we do things in Chicago. We've never fired a coach in midseason. You know what else you haven't done? Won a Super Bowl in forever. And you know why? Because you keep doing stupid things like this that lead to you having this fun parade of Jay Cutler, Mitch Trubisky, and Justin Fields. I now guarantee you is going to be the next in this line. But he could bring in an offensive coordinator and if he does, that guy's going to be a head coach in the NFL, and now you're going to be learning a new playbook. That's the reason you don't hire defensive coaches with mid-tier quarterbacks. That's exactly why you keep seeing guys like this, like Paxton Lynch and Josh Rosen, and mid-tier quarterback prospects that turn into abject disasters because there's a slew of franchises, the Jets, the Jaguars, and the Bears, the one that nobody seems to ever want to talk about, that don't understand how this league works. I'm mad.
Join us tomorrow in the Sportsocracy when we will play Beat the Chief with Asheville Police Chief David Zack, brought to you by Clarissa Sells, WBNC.com. Clarissa Marshall of eXp Realty. We'll pick both of the conference championship games. We'll break them down in every shape, form, or fashion. Hey, you're not doing anything tonight? Head on over to Kimmel Arena. We got a UNC Asheville Bulldogs taking on Gardner Webb. Nationally televised game on ESPNU. Trying to pack that place out. There are tickets available. Head on over. 7 o'clock tip-off. We'll have 6:30 coverage starting on WWNC. The happy hour is coming up next on the YouTube channel, thesportsocracy.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, it's not record cold for us, but a big blast of cold air coming in, and this is the kind of dry, cold air that roars in with these fronts this weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, lows down in the teens here in the valley. 28 our low tonight. Chance for a few light snows Friday afternoon, high 42, low 14 Friday night. And Saturday's high only 25 degrees. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing. 240 eastbound between exit 3 and exit 4A. 240 on the westbound side slow between Merriman Avenue and US 1923, exit 3. Future 26 eastbound delays between Riverside Drive and 240 Sweden Creek Road southbound after Mills Gap Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Delays. Hendersonville Road moving incident-free. On the Charlotte Highway, no backups. Tunnel Road moving well. And Swannanoa River Road, no delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
From the Angell Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
The Sportsocracy.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome in to the happy hour here in the Sportsocracy. We're in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene here with you. And, wow, we got one of these right off the rip.
Just immediately.
I'm your huckleberry.
Devin, our the chief medical correspondent. Praise be unto the sports god. No longer will we suffer an awkward silence as if we just looked at our hookup and said, so what are we? There's a story to that I'll tell one day.
That is brilliant.
Yeah. I may not be a smart man.
So what are we?
I may not be a smart man.
Oh, it's okay. All right. Well,
respect around this place is ending today.
Oh, that sounds like a personal story.
Oh, 100%. 100% it is.
Uh-huh.
I was not always intelligent. It's still not intelligent to this day. Just not quite that stupid.
Just not quite that stupid. What? Not quite as stupid as the Las Vegas Raiders?
Oh, God. The Raiders are about to do a dumb thing.
What's that?
They're about to hire the GM from the Patriots, and he's bringing Josh McDaniels.
Oh, no.
The interview happens tomorrow. I'm going to steal the line right out of Ian Rappaport's mouth. I can't help but believe he wouldn't have accepted the interview if he wasn't going to take it.
Right.
And I don't think Mark Davis would have called if he wasn't planning on offering it to him. That tells me the Jim Harbaugh thing, probably not going to happen.
Well, I mean, that was the place. That was the landing spot for Jim Harbaugh. We all thought.
Oh, Josh McDaniels. Gross.
So you're gonna be you gonna come over to the Raider hater side? No, you're still gonna believe in them even though they have Josh McDaniels.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: if you're McDaniels, he's been very measured in what he takes. I mean, he took the Colts job for a minute. You think Matt?
I don't think that was measured.
You think Matt Eberflus is going to send him a thank you card? Hey, you remember that time that you hired me to be the defensive coordinator for the Colts, and then you didn't take the job,
right?
And you stuck the next guy with me. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Still one of my favorite stories in the history of coaching searches. Josh McDaniels to be introduced tomorrow as the new Colts head coach. They signed a deal with Matt Eberflus before they signed a deal with Josh McDaniels.
Stephen Tao says, then why did Jim give up his defensive coordinator? His defensive coordinator went back to the NFL.
I was about to say his defensive coordinator got paid. That's how that works.
Mike McDonald? Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah. He took the defensive coordinator job vacated by Wink Martindale. I'm kind of surprised his name hasn't been mentioned in any of these coaching searches.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, I thought he was among that group. Was he not among that group of next head coaches in the NFL?
I've always thought he would get hurt by Rex Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're too similar. And he's an older guy. He's the loyal longtime coordinator to me. That's who he is. So, I mean, for me, yeah, he interviewed for a lot of jobs. He was a finalist for the Giants job, but he didn't get it.
Right.
And there have been a slew of those guys over the years that you're just not a head coach. And I don't think Wink Martindale's a head coach. I think he's going to be a tremendous defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And you mark my words, it's going to be with one of these first-time head coaches.
So, like Jacksonville?
That's not the one I have in mind.
Denver.
With Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you've got all of the pieces there for a good defense. You bring in Wink Martindale, that could be huge.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I would like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a weird year in terms of coaches because you've got so many of these first-time guys, whether it's Kellen Moore, Mike McDaniels, Nathaniel Hackett. You got all these guys that I don't really know what the staff's going to look like, and there's not a lot of really formidable former coordinators. I mean, you got Vic Fangio, Martindale, and there's just not a lot of other guys out there. I hate seeing coaches do what Rob Saleh did. You bring in a first-time coordinator. You bring in a first-time offensive coordinator to completely run the offense. And I'm not saying he's not the best choice you had, but you got a first-time head coach with a first-time coordinator, and then you have a first-time defensive coordinator in Jeff Ulbrich, and it leads to what the Jets were. That team was better than 4-13. They had 2 really good wins against teams that played last weekend.
Right.
One of which plays this weekend.
Right.
So, and I think teams will learn from that. I could see Martindale getting a bag from somebody that has a first-time head coach on the offensive side, obviously.
Yep. Other head coaching searches, I mean, I guess the Giants are down to 1 now. Because I had heard that their 3 candidates, their 3 top choices were Brian Daboll, who apparently appears to be or was the favorite to get the Miami Dolphins job.
I'm not as sold on Daboll, no. And I just that report that I said on the ESPN radio show of they want you to keep the defensive staff. I don't think Brian Daboll's going to do that.
Right. And then they had Dan Quinn. He's going back to Dallas now.
I never bought Dan Quinn with the Giants.
And then Brian Flores.
Brian Flores is the call.
He's the guy.
He's the call. Brian Flores, if you remember, I said that the day he got fired.
Yes.
You watch, he will be the next head coach of the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Because he makes all the sense in the world.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess, the Raiders are giving a call to
Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. After they've already interviewed Gerard Mayo, D'Amico Ryans, and Todd Bowles, and Rich Bisaccia. He got his shot too. And then you got the Minnesota Vikings. You think is there anything to the Eric Bieniemy thing?
I think that's the only thing that makes any sense because there's been so little traction there. There's 2 teams that just seem to be in no hurry whatsoever. I keep forgetting the Vikings job is open because there's been so little information about who it could possibly be.
Right.
Adam Black asked, the other one I was talking about, by the way, was the Dolphins. They're in no hurry, and I think the reason is because the 2 guys that they seem to really want, another option. It's either go back to where you or take this.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Black asked, where does Vic Fangio go to be a DC? I would say the same thing about him I just said about Martindale. Because, yes, he's old and he's crotchety and he's a pain in the ass, but he's still a very good defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And he's somebody that one of these young guys could just turn a defense over to him and go, that's your baby now. You deal with that.
Right.
You deal with that shit.
Okay. There has been a lot of talk with that Vikings job of Kwesi? Is that
I don't know how to pronounce his name if that's what you're asking.
Kwesi Adofo-Mensah coming in. He was part of the San Francisco 49ers organization and worked with a lot of dudes who are getting interviews right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's got connections with obviously Jim Harbaugh, who was the head coach at the time.
Not going to happen.
Ryan Day,
not going to happen.
D'Amico Ryans.
That could happen.
Mike McDaniel, Kevin O'Connell. He's tied to all of them.
Kevin O'Connell thing's funny to me.
You don't think he's a head coach yet?
No. Oh, I'm an offensive coordinator under Sean McVay. You do realize he calls the offense, right? I am never a fan of hiring a head coach that was not a play caller.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too steep of a learning curve.
Right.
That's why I laughed when people said, "Oh, Kevin O'Connell's a finalist for the Broncos." No, he's not. No, somebody might have told you that. They were lying to you.
And the New Orleans Saints. That job has come open because of Sean Payton retiring. You have already gone on the record saying you believe that Dennis Allen is probably the guy that's going to get that job. Are you still on that?
If it's not Dennis Allen, it's Aaron Glenn. It will be one of the 2 of them, I feel very sure of.
Yep. Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn being
From
brought
the
in.
Lions.
Yep.
And I would love that hire. That's one of the reasons I was so fond of what Dan Campbell did. He brought in Anthony Lynn, who has since been fired, and Aaron Glenn, who could now be the new coach of the Saints.
Adam Black says we'll take Vic Fangio to be the DC for Inca High School.
Don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but
nah.
I think Vic has a few more options than that.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Holt said we need to vote on fast food fries for Sunday's tasting during the game stream. So now let me ask you, this is just a theoretical question. Would we want to do fries which again involves the bounce around the world doing. Or, since it's a longer, this is going to be the longest stream we do, maybe we do pizza.
Pizza?
I like pizza.
You know what?
Because here's the thing. You could do a twin bill with pizza. First of all, they all get delivered because not just hat rack.
Mm-hmm.
And you could do hot pizza. And then in the second game,
cold pizza.
Leftover pizza.
I know this is going to disappoint some of you, but after last week,
oh no, you're doing it again.
I can't.
But you are though.
I can't. I was sick for 3 days.
Well, here's
after
the
that,
thing. I'm going to put this in the comments. Hold on, I don't want to say this out loud because it might get flagged. So, where is the cat? I need the cat. What is happening with my emojis right now? They all have they're all sitting on like pedestals. What the hell?
Patrick Holt says Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's. We do not have Hungry Howie's, and it's just
a travesty.
Hungry Howie's is so good.
Hungry Howie's is the tits.
Yes, it is.
God, you talk about something in your college years that you just get drunk at 2:00 in the morning and have that shit show up, and you just do naughty things to it.
Right.
That crust.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's glorious. And it would win. To me, it would win hands down. We used to eat Hungry Howie's down when I lived in Charleston all the time. Damn it. It's right there. I wrote it on the board. Still didn't do it. I'm going to work on that. We're going to do better. I apologize to everyone. I get it.
Thing.
You can just take one small bite. I know that, but I'm a fat guy, and once it hits your lips, it just, I mean, it's like Frank the Tank drinking beers. Once it hits the lips, it's just so good you can't stop.
Well, Eric Miller said pizza will get expensive and quick, and here's and I thought about that. That has already crossed my mind.
Okay,
we don't have to do 10 pizzas. I mean, we could have people here with us. Mm-hmm. That's not a foreboding thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you have yet to say the underrated dark horse of pizza.
What is that?
You know the answer to this.
Little Caesars.
The dirty, the girl that drinks tequila straight, no fruit, no salt, no nothing. Just that is what Little Caesars is.
Yeah. And compare
it's so good.
And compare it to the other pizzas that you will have
Secret
in this.
Time, it's better than 2 of the ones that got said. One of them by a considerable margin.
Disagree.
Little Caesars is.
It's going to be the Big Mac of pizzas.
Where you're wrong and I'm right.
2-1, we win.
Eric Miller said, Jeremy, are you saying it's a pizza party? It very well could be.
It could be. Little Caesars deep dish is the best out of all of them. Be honest with you, never had the deep dish pizza from Little Caesars.
Then you're doing it wrong because it's
so good.
Scott Cutshall said, no, it's more of an Old Crow. That's correct. You got that right. Little Caesars is the Old Crow of pizzas. And that's fine.
It took me a while to,
We've all had a night with Old Crow where, okay, you woke up next to somebody and went, what am I doing with my life? But it was fun.
And Domino's is the old granddad.
Domino's is better than 2 of the ones that have been said. My going into
you
this
went the
ranking,
wrong way on that one.
No, Domino's is good. Domino's used to be crap. And Domino's is no longer crap. Domino's is a formidable, especially if you're not doing like Frank's or if you're just going chain pizza places.
Yeah.
Because to me, Domino's beats a hell out of a couple of those. It sounded like thin crust pizza.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of those places that just immediately would be like,
no. Patrick Holt, we don't have either of those either. Pizza.
We do have pizza.
We still have one of those?
Mm-hmm. It's in Hendersonville.
Huh.
CC's
is gone?
Yeah, CC's Cece's was the trailer park speed dating family reunion. I mean, oh, God, that place was horrible.
Yeah, but it was glorious because you eat all you want.
See,
macaroni and cheese pizza?
Oh, that was
Come
the
on.
worst.
Come on.
Cece's is proof positive that people will keep consuming shit if you don't stop how much shit they will consume.
Oh, yeah, there was a time where me and my dad would go in that place and just camp. And they'll make whatever you want, too. So we would order up an anchovy pizza, and they would just make it for us.
But how do you order it? Like sitting in a...
You just go to the guy behind the counter and say, hey, can you make me an anchovy pizza?
There
He'll
was a guy
do
behind
it.
the counter? I never saw a person.
You never saw a person?
Hell no. They handed you your weird cup that you could shoot with a shotgun and it wouldn't break. Trust me, I've watched enough kids bounce them motherfuckers off the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And then there would just be pizzas that every once in a while got replenished. Not nearly as quickly as you would want them to. They did have a sticky cinnamon bun thing, though, that was... I need like 6 of them.
Rob Johnson says Donato's is the best pizza chain.
Donato's
I've never even heard of that.
If it's the same place I'm thinking of, I haven't. I want to say that's a Midwestern place.
Mm-hmm.
Galactic on Sardis Road. Well, I mean, if we're starting to talk about places like that, Frank's wins.
No,
you're wrong. It's fine. There's winners and losers in every argument, and if Frank's ain't your one, you're doing it wrong. I live right beside the place. I know the guy. Not because I met him at like a ball game, because he's seen me so many damn times that he's figured out who I am.
Mm-hmm. I have to ask you this question. Have you eaten, and this was mentioned by my good friend, my computer repairman, Jason Trump, in the comments, Fahrenheit. Have you eaten at Fahrenheit Pizza over there? It's just a little place over there by the Skyland Fire Department.
Yep, you lost me at South Asheville.
And it is phenomenal.
You could literally put a fence around South Asheville that said Narnia. I wouldn't know that until Christmas next year.
The white pizza there, oh, it's so good. It's the closest I have ever come.
And I don't. Okay, pizza is. Stop doing weird shit to pizza, okay? This is like bacon. This is bacon 2.0. Stop trying to make pizza better. Pizza is awesome.
Mm-hmm. There's so many different things you can do with it.
But no, there's not.
Yeah.
There are 2 things you can do with it. You can have a normal amount of bread with red sauce and cheese and toppings. Or... if you want to go uber fat ass, you can do a deep dish, which is a loaf of bread with shit on top of it. And it is awesome. But like, what? If you bring me a pizza that doesn't have pizza sauce on it, I will fight you like a man.
That's the best stuff in the world.
Awful. Stop it.
You've never had it, have you?
Oh, 100% I have.
Oh, okay.
Dude, do you realize how many airports I've been in? I've eaten every kind of pizza there is known to man.
Just asking the question because that's my all-time favorite.
There is probably neither a pizza type or a pizza place that I have never eaten at ever.
Mm-hmm. When I lived in Atlanta, me and my wife discovered Ray's New York Pizza. And their white pizza was the best thing on the planet. And Fahrenheit is the closest I've ever had to come to that.
I do like New York style pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I also like Chicago. See, I'm weird. I've traveled to all these places, and I'm gonna level with you. Other than thin crust, there's not a wrong kind of pizza, as long as it has sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like crispy shit. Like just straight up. You give me a saltine cracker with pizza sauce and cheese on it, I'm gonna flick you off and kick you in the dick.
Like, what is this? A Lunchable?
Yeah. What'd you give me here? A pack of wheat thins with some shit on it? How about you go make my pizza now? You forgot the bread.
I like my pizza on a cracker. I dig thin crust pizza.
It's you bring in the thin crust pizza from time to time, and I'm just stop that.
Yep.
Why would you pay monies for that?
Domino's sausage thin crust pizza. That's where it's at.
And look, I don't even like bread. I genuinely don't. I don't like bread.
Mm-hmm.
But there are 2 times that there is an exception to that rule. One of them is with a burger. If you bring me a burger in a lettuce wrap, see previous kick in dick comment.
Greatest pizza you ever had. Like, and I'm not talking about the greatest gourmet pizza. I'm saying what do you have a moment where you had a piece of pizza and you went, Oh, my God, this is great. Like the closest to climaxing you ever came eating pizza.
I could give you a handful of examples of that, and they were all in the same city.
Okay.
It's New York. I'm just telling you, if you've never been in New York City, you've never really had pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I like Chicago. I like Chicago-style pizza. It's just done different up there, okay? You get a big old slice, and you fold that motherfucker over.
That's what my dreams are made of.
Fly to New York to do that.
That's what my dreams are made of.
Scott Cutshall says, "Is going to be one bite? Everyone knows the rules." See, I think the one bite things, and I love Barstool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a Portnoy's issues notwithstanding. I mean, it's not like I play golf with the guy,
right?
But I think a lot of his content and what he does for small businesses is tremendous,
right?
I actually know a guy that owns a pizza place that Portnoy reviewed. And by saying I know him, I mean we're 3 degrees of separation.
Okay.
In one day, after that pizza review came out, he did more pizzas in one day than he had ever done in 1 week. That is the power that dude has.
That's crazy.
And that is tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think the one bite thing's bullshit. Okay?
Why?
Because it's not fair. All right, that's not because there are three bites of pizza. All right, you have the tip, which, okay, if you have a bad tip, this is kind of like sex. If you have a bad tip, you're not gonna have a good time. Then you have the meat of the pizza,
mm-hmm.
which is the bites after the tip and before the best bite of pizza, which is you have the softer right at the crust, which is the best bite of pizza, with the crust at the same time. It's 3-bite.
Mm-hmm.
3-bite, everybody knows the rules. You got a tip, you got a meat, and then you got a ass.
I've never seen him do one with meat, though.
No. He doesn't. What I'm saying, he does one bite.
Yeah.
But there's 3 different kinds of bite.
Well, he always takes a bite of the crust.
Yeah, but you don't get the good shit, okay? He takes the back end of the crust, which is dog water. You're missing the best bite of the pie.
Unless it's filled with cheese. Unless you have stuffed crust.
Cutshall said he never eats just one bite. I know he inhales like half of it, but he eats it in a... My biggest problem with the one bite is the order at which he eats which doesn't make any logical sense.
Well, you always go with the tip first.
Uh-huh.
And then he takes the bite of the crust.
But see, I don't do that.
Well, nobody does that. He just does it for the guy. Yeah.
It's all and Coach also it's always cheese
because crust is important.
That levels the field,
mm-hmm.
and I totally understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to have the 3 levels. Okay, what kind of tip we got? What kind of meat and taters we got here in the middle?
Meat and taters.
And then what is the ass like?
Taters on the pizza? No. Don't put taters on the pizza.
Frankie Cleary, crust or not? He asked for a poll. I can do that.
Crust or not? What? Like, you just leave the crust in the box? Don't do that. What are you, 3 years old?
He was asking. Scott said you always take the tip first. Thank you. Hearing him not say that in a way that made any form of sense, it was really getting to be a struggle for me to not say that.
Right.
I have a feeling I know how this poll's going to go, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you eat the crust of pizza?
Yes.
Some people don't.
I know some people don't, but again,
I'm not
what
one
are you,
of those people.
6 years old?
And that's why you always get the side of marinara, because you dip the crust in that and then you eat it. And then you got I want the marinara. I mean, they can have ranch on it too,
mm-hmm.
but I need the marinara.
Yeah.
Look, you're talking to somebody that gets heartburn by waking up in the morning. And pizza, now, by the way, just throwing this out there, you've been whining about that burger challenge for about 5 days now.
I have.
If we do this with pizza, I'm going to be burnt for about 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Because looking at pizza gives me heartburn.
Mm-hmm.
It being in my vicinity gives me acid reflux. So, yeah, I'll be in hell for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. And you know why?
Why?
Because it's pizza. And it's delicious.
Yeah. you're not wrong.
Adam Black said pineapple does go on pizza. Correct.
Sure.
Big facts. Big facts. And thank you for creating the graphic that I'm going to put out tomorrow.
Yeah.
One thing I love about Threadbare Thursday.
The only thing I've ever had on a pizza that I thought this doesn't go on pizza was broccoli. Somebody put broccoli on a pizza.
I've had broccoli on
And I
pizza.
went,
It's quite lovely.
I wasn't a fan.
That's about the only way I can make up for the white pizza.
Devin had a phone call, so we were purposefully holding on to his second super chat of the day.
Yeah, I'm not saying it loud.
Come on.
I'm not doing it.
Why not?
Because there's a story to that, too.
I'm sure there is, but he paid for it. We got to say it.
And here's the thing.
I'm your huckleberry.
Don't mind the smell. It's just an infection.
That actually doesn't have anything to do with me, but it was adjacent. It's a story I'm not telling.
Oh, it's you adjacent.
Yeah, it's somebody it's actually somebody you know as well.
Oh, well, now I have to know.
Oh, I'll tell you.
We'll go off the air and you can tell me.
It's also, never mind. No good can come from what I was going to say.
Patrick Holt says Papa John's nacho cheese dipping sauce is the best.
It is quite lovely. Rob Johnson said we should do a hot wing challenge for the Super Bowl. Done.
Yes.
Done. It is decided.
I like that.
I got to figure out where we're going to watch the Super Bowl. Like, I feel like that's an opportunity that needs to not be missed.
I would agree.
I got 2 weeks from Sunday to
I
figure it out.
know a place.
I know a slew of places.
I'm sure you do. But I don't have any problem with that. Yeah, no, Stephen Tow's right. Can't. Physically can't. Just
can't what?
I thought he was talking about the pizza challenge. Like I still feel gross. And that was a week ago now.
Devin, you're trying to tell him who it is without telling him. That's not going to help him. It would have helped me if you were trying to communicate it to me. That would have worked. Everything he knows about that particular person comes from me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
drive-in movie
social.
theater.
That's the leader in the clubhouse.
Right. That's what I was hinting at.
Yeah, that's the leader.
That's
in
the best
clubhouse.
damn wing in town. My opinion.
It is a good wing.
They have great wings at the social. Anyway,
everybody seems to be saying they thought it was the social, so maybe I at some point got drunk and said that, and good for me. It'd been cool if I had. Stephen Tao said he was talking about you eating hot wings.
Oh, if they're like god awful Chernobyl wings, like it's not my bag, baby. But I'll do every other flavor of wing.
Oh, you'll do that one too. You'll do that one too.
I did the Rockies hot chicken. I had some of that with you. I didn't eat all of it.
God, that was good.
It was good. It was very good. It was very hot, but it was very good.
Apparently, I said last week, so I guess I should, do some actual arranging of that.
Yes.
Good. Glad everybody told me because I forgot.
Stephen Tao says drive-in movie theater. That'd be fun. We don't have one of those here.
Yeah, we do.
Where?
Beacon's down past what is it, Shelby? It's
again.
a hall.
We don't have one of those here.
Yes. Yes. Correct. I forgot the hotel with a gaggle of peoples.
Yes, I remember. Yes, I remember now. I
do remember this now.
Mm-hmm. Sam's Pizza for the value. It's good.
That big, it's the size of a radial tire.
Mm-hmm.
You have to cook that sumbitch on the sidewalk.
Marco's is good.
Marco's just shellacks everything else.
Yeah, that take-home, bake-your-own pizza that we had a hell of a time trying to fit into our oven because it was so ginormous.
There's a place up here, like right by the studio, called Favelas.
Yeah. See, we could do this all day with non-chain shops around. Well, I guess Favelas, they have a second one, don't they?
Devin said we do have a drive-in. Silverados could be a drive-in for a rental fee.
It very could be. It very well could be.
It's going to be so cold, though.
Yeah.
Like, you're talking about the middle of February.
Yeah.
And I'll be on vacation with him the next week.
I don't think Sunday is going to be I don't think Sunday is going to be as cold as Saturday is going to be around here, but
Saturday's going to be gross.
Yeah, the high on Saturday is supposed to be like 15.
Adam Black said lemon pepper wings is definitely a good change-up. There are two flavors of wing that I find to be absolutely repulsive.
Okay.
Lemon pepper and garlic parm.
Why?
I don't really like either one of those things.
Okay.
People overuse garlic. All right, garlic is the high school horror of the spice rack. Okay, because everybody uses that. Like, oh look, I'm making zucchini, and I put it in a pan, and I put salt, and pepper, and a pound of garlic. Okay, garlic's over freaking rated.
Nope.
By a lot.
Nope. I can't go down that path with you. I'm a big fan of garlic, and I mean, there is such a thing as too much.
And Parmesan only belongs on pizza and Caesar salads. That's it. It's another thing people overuse the shit out of.
Spaghetti.
I put real cheese on spaghetti. And bake the piss out of it. And then I run through it like it was on fire.
Patrick Holt, he says he makes a honey pesto chicken wing that is really great.
Can I just state something about Patrick Holt? First of all, I absolutely adore that guy, in spite of the fact I've never laid eyes on him. Second of all, have you ever noticed that when he says things about food, he just uses 4 adjectives that almost seem like they could in no possibly way go together, and then you read it and go, yeah, that sounds fucking delicious.
Yep.
I mean, I'm literally waiting for him to say, I made a nacho cheese maple syrup honey glazed popsicle. And me just go, I'd try it. I've seen his food. I'd try it.
Yeah. See, Karen says it, Bo, he's right down my alley. Loves garlic on everything.
And see, I don't mind garlic. It's just people overuse the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and look, I'm not going to say this place because, you never know when you can end up having a partnership with somebody you've already talked shit about. Not saying one of those is currently working, but one of those is currently working. There is a pizza place here in Asheville that when they make their sauce, I think they go, all right, to make an order, I need 5 tomatoes and some salt and some pepper and a little bit of sugar and every clove of garlic that we have in this building. And they squeeze it in there. And there are chunks of garlic in that sauce that is just repulsive to me.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of an immersion blender, okay? You can put garlic in that shit, zoom her down there, and I don't have that big chunk of shit. Fine.
Okay.
Bingo. Right there. Patrick Holt just said a Cheerwine maple glazed pork roast for nachos that had nacho cheese and pico on it. None of those things go together. But because he said it, I want to do that now. None of those words make any sense.
I want it.
See?
In my face.
Exactly. See? He does this to me all the time.
I mean, I'm not so sure about the nacho cheese portion of that, but all the rest of it sounds fantastic.
Stephen Tao said I'm a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong. I do like the dark. One thing I'm not scared of, the dark.
Oh, I'll come in here all the time, and he's sitting in here in the dark. And, I mean, hell, that used to be our running joke of I'd just open the door and go, I was born in the darkness.
You merely inherited it.
I don't understand it.
I was born into it.
Molded by it. Yeah, so this kind of turned into a foodocracy, and I don't care.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't care.
Adam Black said get the nachos at 9 Mile. 9 Mile is... if you ever want to be...
Is that the Jamaican place?
Yeah. If you ever want to be mortified, amazed, repulsed, and a slew of watch me eat 9 Mile. I don't care what's in it. Like, I mean, I will 2 hands, a fork in each hand, and just be scooping it in my face. God, I love that place.
Nice.
This did turn into a food episode, didn't it?
It did. It turned into that. quite well. I appreciate we appreciate all the responses all the time during the ESPN Asheville show, and of course on this one as well. I thought we had a good conversation at the top of the program about Ben Roethlisberger and being the greatest Steeler of all time. Although there were some responses that did not get read on the air, and I feel like we should touch on those. There were a lot of mentions of Jerome Bettis, and Jeremy kind of rolled his eyes like he thinks Jerome Bettis is overrated.
As a player, he is. See, to me, I kind of put Ben, Hines Ward, and Bettis in the same boat.
Okay.
The stats will never tell you the story of any of the three of them. But the culture that they all three instilled in that team lasted for damn near 2 decades.
Right.
Just gritty, hard-ass, and it carried forever.
Oh, yeah.
Bettis was the start, then Ben, then in came Hines.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really think you can tell the story of that team without any of the three of them. But I don't think any of the three of them were the best player. I would say Ben's the best quarterback they've ever had.
I would agree.
2 Super Bowl championships.
Right.
You know, for me, that's the one.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised nobody, and I guess this is probably just because of the age of our audience, nobody threw out Lynn Swan and all of that.
It's funny, Frankie Cleary just did that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't see any mention of Franco Harris, who should be in the conversation as well. Come on. The Immaculate Reception alone puts him in that conversation.
I'm still convinced that was a government conspiracy. It's the only thing in the last 60 years. That and John F. Kennedy's assassination are the only 2 things that we've never gotten a really good video look at.
Mm-hmm. You still maintain that the tip of that ball touched the ground?
Oh, 100%. Just imagine if that happened now.
Oh, yeah.
That sumbitch would be reviewed to high holy hell.
Mm-hmm. And we'd have more than one camera angle.
Hell, they'd review that for a day.
They did have different camera angles. The NFL just scrubbed those from our memories.
100%. They're stored with the Zapruder film.
They hit us with the little Men in Black taser thing. Mind taser.
What the hell was that thing called?
The deneuralizer or something like that?
That's the one.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the name.
I'm shocked I was even able to come up with it. It's been a while since I've seen those movies.
Jason Trump said, I said no 70s guys.
He did.
I said for me, there will be no 70s guys. It's kind of like people that you get into best quarterback ever and people go, Johnny Unitas and Bart Starr. Shut the fuck up.
Slinging Sammy ball.
And if you get to Paul Hornig, I will have already gotten to my car and driven off. So,
yeah.
And to me, this is a totally different aside, but I haven't weighed in on this, and I feel like I have to. I posted a graphic on our Facebook page earlier of 4 sports. You get rid of one forever, and it was football, basketball, baseball, soccer. I already know your answer, and your answer was very common.
Yeah.
Mine's baseball's not even close. And the reason, my hatred of baseball comes from one very specific place. I do not want to listen to you compare shit from 1920 to now. And do you know why? Because it's fucking stupid. That would be like comparing a Model T to a Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
You see how when you say it that way, it's really stupid?
Right.
And that's what baseball does on a perpetual cycle. Did you see Jeff Passan's quote about Barry Bonds?
No.
I mean, I want to remember it verbatim because it was perfect.
Yeah.
And it made me laugh a lot.
Stephen Tao said it was the neuralizer.
Yes.
Was the name of that thing, not the deneuralizer. Excuse me.
Here come the Men in Black. Galaxy Defender. Sorry.
That was the jam of 1990. When was that? 96? Is that the summer of 96? 95? Somewhere in there? I just remember that was a very popular song when I was making mixtapes.
Oh, where is it? I saw it on Twitter.
No, not coming to
basically, the gist of it was, if you tell the story of baseball, it would really help if you included the person that hit the most home runs. And a great place to do that would be a building to talk about the history of your sport.
Right.
Can you imagine if any other sport did that?
But they do.
No, they don't.
They don't.
No.
There's
won the NFL?
There's not a picture. There's not I'm talking about baseball's Hall of Fame. They don't have pictures. They don't have the bat. They don't have any of that stuff. Oh, I get it.
You're not in it. Which is literally name one person in football history who's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, or basketball, or any other sport.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one. And you know why? Because it's stupid.
Yeah.
And it's the pretentious, cocky-ass nature of these old, stuffy-ass baseball fans that we're more refined than – well, it's a weird way to say boring. I've really never heard somebody say boring starting with an R.
Right. I just – the Hall of Fame thing kills me because they have not just the plaques. They have all of this memorabilia from the important things that have happened in baseball history. I mean, I don't know what the cycle is on stuff like that, or if, the Hall of Fame gets it and it's just on display forever. But, I mean, they've got the thing, like Mark McGwire's bat and Barry Bonds' bat and had the gloves and all that. Kurt Schilling's bloody sock from the World Series in 2004. They have all of that shit in that building, but they don't want to give credit to the actual player.
Which is stupid.
Exactly.
That is stupid.
It is stupid.
I mean, we had a bunch of people when you talked about this the other day that were basically saying, hypocrisy and all of those things. I totally forgot what I was going to say right there. I'm not going to lie. I looked over and I saw a shadow on my face, and my brain just went.
What I saw when I was talking about this the other day were a whole lot of preach-its. Because I think baseball fans, at least baseball fans in our generation, all get it. Like, it was part of the game. You have to embrace it. You just have to. You can't celebrate the records in one wing of the Hall of Fame and then completely exclude those guys on the other side of the Hall of Fame. I don't understand it. And I've been rooting for, the last 20 years as a baseball fan of just, I can't wait until all of these ancient dinosaur dudes are gone. Like, no more vote, no more talking about baseball, no more none of it. And now it's getting to be a point where, like, guys that I respect, like Timmy Kirkjian. I saw Timmy Kirkjian say something the other day about Barry Bonds and how he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame and I was like, dude, just stop.
Yeah, it's Buster only or nothing. Yeah. Curtis Davis said Don Coryell. He'll get in eventually. Coaches are weird. The Pro Football Hall of Fame's always been weird about coaches, and I don't know why that is. There have been a slew of good coaches that it took forever for them to get in.
Every day is like a field trip. I don't know that I've ever seen that in the comments before.
I don't know. I feel like I've seen that person before, but I've never seen. But I've only seen that name for the last few days.
Yeah.
So if we've never done this before, we're like an AA meeting for sports.
Welcome. Says Pete Rose has his own room. He has his own room in the Hall of Fame, and they won't enshrine him,
which is stupid.
Yeah, it's absolutely stupid. I just don't get it, and I really hope that it will be corrected at some point. I mean, I know there are people writing about it and talking about it, that the Today's Committee, the Today's Game Committee, has the option to now take these guys who didn't get into the Hall of Fame and put them in, and they meet every 5 years, and just so happens that this next December they're meeting at the end of this year, so that these guys theoretically could go in 2023. The problem is you've got a mixture of all of these assholes on this committee. You've got veteran writers and all those dudes.
Every day is a field trip. He's one of our Bengals fans.
Oh, okay.
That I knew I had seen that name before.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie to you, and I can't give you all of the nitty-gritty of this because we haven't hammered it out yet. This has been one of those weeks business-wise that if you had a camera in this studio to see the wide-ranging of it would be entertaining, to say the least. Been a roller coaster of facts and feelings around this place this week. So,
Patrick Holt. That's points.
Yeah,
that's points.
That's you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But I mean, at some point, this all has to be corrected, and it's going to be. That's the thing. It's going to be corrected.
It's not.
Oh yeah, it will.
By who? I mean, when we're 70,
when
all
we
the
won't have to wait that
crotchety
long.
old shits have.
I don't think we'll have to wait that long.
You do realize none of these guys were even close, right? Like, not even vaguely close.
Oh, on the last ballot, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to sway a lot of narrative. It's not going to happen.
All I got to do is get that committee.
So you tell me, at what point has baseball ever done something where you went, oh, look at you evolving. Look at you being not a billion.
Robots.
It'll last a year.
We're making the change to robots.
Is it happening in the majors?
No.
No.
not
It's
yet.
in that trial minefield of AAA baseball?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I really wish other sports would do that. Like the NBA puts a trampoline at the charge circle in the G League.
Yes. I mean, you never get past the health and safety board of the league, but yeah.
Hey, Rock and Jock did that shit, so you can piss down the road. The NBA puts in a 30-foot goal.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you make one of those, it's 10. Steph Curry would be raining them bitches from half court.
Every day is like a field trip. Says it's weird because if Bonds died tomorrow, he'd get in next year.
I've always said that about Pete Rose.
I really don't think so.
He's 100% right.
You think so?
100% right.
I've
always said that about Pete Rose.
Which is dumb.
The minute he dies, that narrative will start.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's almost like
it's a
baseball
lifetime
doesn't want
ban, and once your lifetime's over, the ban's lifted.
But it's not even that. It's almost like we don't want to give you the satisfaction in your lifetime kind of thing. Oh, I absolutely agree. If something happened to Bonds next week,
mm-hmm.
he'd be in that shit within 18 months.
Yeah,
Adam Blake said baseball needs something like the Manning cast. Here's the only problem with that. Name me the player you really want to hear talk about baseball. Because mine would be Kurt Schilling and Pete Rose, personally. How many times do you say "Let's go, Brandon" in one telecast?
I don't know that anybody would ever do that other than Outkick, and we should give them a call.
100%. Armchair asked if he could get a recap of Greene on Greene. There's that one. Sixers minus 2.5 under the 218. Warriors minus the 6 over the 229.5. Can I tell you a little secret? There is a website that I have come to realize that damn near everything they say is wrong. All 4 of those are the opposite of what they picked for tonight. I try to get little snippets. I never remember to have them on the screen, but I steal those from places just so I don't have to, do my own legwork, because most of my gambling is either completely analytical based or completely gut.
Yep.
But I noticed that when I put it on the screen because I kept going through to look at their line going, oh, I did the exact opposite. And then Greene on Greene is Purdue, 50 on it, minus 2.5 at Iowa. Stanford, plus 11.5 at USC, 50 on it. And then 25 on it over the 128.5 between Cal and UCLA.
Armchair says A-Rod and Big Papi. I guess on the Manning cast thing, I'm out. If it's got A-Rod on it, I'm done.
I wouldn't listen to A-Rod give me the winning lottery numbers.
Mm-mm. I just can't do it. I hate that guy so much.
He is the douchiest douche in the history of douchery.
Mm-hmm. It's like when he's talking on Sunday Night Baseball or whatever program he's on, it's like I can hear his lip gloss, and it just drives me crazy.
Yeah, he irks me a lot.
Yeah. Big Papi, on the other hand, I would love that. You give me a Manning cast with Big Papi and Pedro Martinez, I mean, it might be a little hard to understand at times, but those dudes are hilarious. You put Dustin Pedroia in the middle, done. That's all I need.
And get him a booster seat.
You do need to get him a booster seat because he's just a little feller.
He's just a little feller. He ain't no bigger than a squirrel. Why is it so damn dark in here?
I don't know.
Like, it's getting progressively darker, and there's no window in here.
Right. I have no clue. Like, did the light above me go out? Or
I've been nuts. That's why I've been staring at the screen so much, because I keep looking over, and I swear to you, every time I take my eye off that screen, it gets darker. Like, by the end of this, we're going to look like we should be singing Rocket Man.
Mm-hmm. Or Bohemian Rhapsody. We do have kind of a...
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide. No respect
Escape from reality.
Oh, shit. I got the words wrong. I hate that song.
Oh, you would not. You would definitely be out. You'd be eliminated on That's My Jam. Have you seen that show yet?
HWA, and I made it 8 minutes.
That's it? And you turned it off?
Yeah.
God, I love that show.
And at least my version of that is only because Nikki Glazer's kind of hot. That's the only reason I made it that long. And then she looked at me and went, "Can we watch anything else?" Yes, honey. Yes, we can.
Nikki Glazer.
She's a comedian.
Okay, I haven't seen that episode yet.
She was on with...
Me and Andy just started watching that show 2 days ago, and we watched 3 episodes in a row and went, this is great. This is entertaining.
She's on with Terry Crews.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
the dude that impersonates Eddie Murphy so well.
Yeah, that's
Jay something.
That's the one I tapped out. I tapped out and went to bed because I just couldn't do it anymore. She
what
watched
the hell
it.
is that guy's name? Jay. Shit.
Nope.
He's the greatest impressionist on earth. Between Eddie Murphy, Kevin Hart, I mean, it's flawless. What the hell's his name?
I don't know. All I can think of is that Ross guy that does
Ross
Ken's
Marquand?
Yeah, Marquand that does all of the great. I mean, he does everybody so well.
Somebody's going to answer this in the comments probably before I can get it pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
This is bugging the shit out of me.
Adam Black's
Jay Farrow. Jay Farrow.
Okay.
That's his name.
John Rocker and Poppy. I don't think John Rocker's getting the job in baseball.
Yeah, notice nobody's seen John Rocker in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he got canceled.
God, what a long day this has been. So I guess our foodocracy tomorrow is deciding pizza places? Are we?
Yeah, I guess. What?
Adam Black is my favorite pastor in the history of time. It's the hardest I've laughed in 3 weeks, and that's no bullshit.
Absolutely love it.
Oh, good gracious! I like that guy.
Rob Johnson said he was on Survivor. Who, the comedian he was just talking about? And second question, they still do Survivor?
Oh, yeah.
I saw a poll question today. Somebody posted it. It was, it was Mike Golick posted it on his Twitter feed. Do you still watch The Walking Dead? No. I don't know anybody that still watches that show except for my dad. And it's only because he's got
4 billion years invested in it.
Right. He's got issues with, he's like Jeremy. Like, I have to watch it to the end. I have to see where this story goes. I tapped on that shit 2 seasons ago.
Carl! Sorry,
it was 91-9. No, we do not watch that show anymore. I feel like that's apropos. Anyway.
Oh, John Rocker was on Survivor. That I do remember.
Okay.
I pulled up Jay Farrow's Wikipedia. Like, that is a weird way for you to have gotten famous.
Right.
I mean, it worked for that. What was that girl that used to be on The View? Elizabeth Hasselbeck. That did work for her. She went on Survivor and made her famous. But she pretty.
I didn't know that's where she came from.
Mm-hmm. That was her first swat. And the only reason I remember that is because my parents watched that show. And I remember seeing her literally in the woods going, well, I do declare exactly how you.
I believe this is an island I would like to be stranded
And
on.
then she wound up married to the better commentator, shittier quarterback, Hasselbeck.
That's a great way to put that.
Yeah, he sucked playing, but he's a way better analyst.
Unfortunately, Peyton got all the talent in that family. Because he's a way better broadcaster, way better quarterback.
He's way better at everything.
Yeah.
Although Cooper is much closer funny-wise.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Eli is like what did you get in this family?
And I love that they're playing into the Family Guy joke. The Family Guy joke of Cooper got a MasterCard.
Yeah.
I saw a commercial the other day.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the fuck it was for, but it was both Mannings sitting there, and they were like, hey, Cooper's here too. And he was like, ah.
That's a Caesars commercial.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
It's
That's
J.B.
right.
Smooth that says it.
Yeah.
He's like, because I thought this, I didn't realize that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
Or I didn't confirm that's what they were doing, but I thought it. Like,
Yeah.
Hey,
Even
Cooper
Cooper's
got
a Caesar.
MasterCard.
Yeah. Even Cooper's a Caesar.
Fellas, we all had a good day.
Yeah, we did. We all had a good day, and we are glad that you were all along on the ride for us. I got to hop off here. We got UNC Asheville basketball coming up on 570 WWNC,
And
taking
I've
on
got
Gardner
a
Webb.
social media post, so I got another hour of this shit.
Yep, we got things to do. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. As always, we love and adore your support. And we will be back with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. We'll play Beat the Chief. We'll break down the conference championship games. Tomorrow we'll do another foodocracy. We will talk about what we're going to do on
I think
Sunday.
we're going to set the pizza bracket.
Yeah.
I think that's how that's. I reckon that's how that's.
Here's the thing, though. If we're going to do the pizza, the one thing that is going to be required.
It's not if.
We need people. We're going to need people to help us eat the pizza because. I mean, I'm serious. I'm in for one bite and done because I cannot do what I did last week. Still lost 3 pounds.
I reckon I'll have me some of the bacon.
Jeremy will eat all the rest of the pizza.
I'm your boy.
I'm here for the gangbang.
These tomatoes aren't even ripe.
Sometimes I just like going through buttons. Like,
Yep.
hey, look what I can do.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will see you again next time right here in the Wicked Weed studio. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. See you next time. I understand.
I saw a tiger.
And the tiger saw a man. Lay down their guns.
Tell them that the tiger needs a little bit of love. I don't remember the next line, so if that's what you're looking for.
Let them run the jungle.
Let them roam their
Let them
land.
roam their lands.
Nope.
And look at that tiger.
What a beautiful cat.
That's it. The beautiful cat. We'll see you next time.